Reborn in the apocalypse, I begin by plundering all the city's resources. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. 276. I'm not afraid that you hide deep. As long as you appear, it will be exposed. Although Li Yu was worried, but it is not dangerous at the moment. Only a group of daring people choose to wash the zombie blood from their faces, and half didn't. This half of the people, partly because they are timid, and partly women, they all use the blood of zombies to cover their faces like a protective shell. But Li Yu knew this is only temporary. There are no zombies going up the mountain, and there is no way to provide fresh zombie blood. After the blood stains on the body dry up, the coagulation blocks will continue to fall. By the time women's protective shell will also be lost. Li Yu kept doing various analyses and assumptions, but the conclusions she finally got were all unfavorable to herself. No, I have to leave this makeshift camp, but where can I go? The front is full of zombies, and the back is also a steady stream of corpses. It is clear in a short time, there is no way out. The next day the Red Queen reported to Xiao Yu early in the morning that a large number of zombies had gathered on the plateau in the Z area, and they converged in the direction of the 108 turn of Nushan Mountain. After Red, call up the monitoring screen. Good Master. A huge 437 view surveillance screen appeared in front of Xiao Yu's eyes. On the screen the densely packed zombies, starting from L City, moved mightily to the southwest. Queen Red, how can you be sure that the direction of the sea of corpses is Nushan 108 turn 99 owner? Obviously, the sea of corpses is controlled by the corpse king of the Xiao people. We have known this for a long time. Since it's the sea of corpses of the Shirai 35, it must be in order to cooperate with this total, so we have to block our way. I'm sure the Xiao people know that too. Once we fall, retreating to the plateau in Zone Z is the best choice, so they have to block our back way ahead of time. Listening to Queen Huang's analysis, Xiao Yu nodded. Believing this reason, it seems that the Shirai people believe that I will be defeated if I touch the mountain, so I have to cut off my back road ahead of time. Really delusional. It happened just in time that the Sea of Corpses set off from City L. Presumably the base of the Xiao peoples in City L. If they don't act, I haven't had a chance to find them. 35. Well now, find the snake and find the hole. 99. Xiao Yu immediately ordered Chu Shui, send a helicopter team to the sky over the Corpse Sea in L City. Find the invisible Corpse King, and provide the Red Queen with a tracking signal. Okay. Captain. 35. The Zile people may not have imagined that the ability of the Red Queen to exist is not what it used to be. As long as the shielded area, a chip monster appeared after the red. The signals received by these monsters can be detected and backtracked. Soon a team of 5 magic-modified helicopters took off. The speed is 2,500 kilometers per hour. It takes half an hour to reach the Sea of Corpses in L City. Soon following the magic-modified helicopter team, they left the shielded area of Yizishan and appeared under the surveillance of the Zile people. Of course, from the monitoring, what I see is also moving small black dots because the magic-modified helicopter is connected to the red host. It can shield a range of 10 kilometers in diameter. Even being monitored, there was also no helicopter squad in sight. Quick, tell Commander David to come soon. The Morgan family headquarters base. Commander David came to the monitoring room. Look at the moving black dots in the picture. A bit confused for a while. It's weird. Is Yizishan starting to evacuate now? 39. But it's too small, isn't it? David knew that there was a helicopter in Yizishan. Although he couldn't see the helicopter, it could move in a straight line in the mountain. It was absolutely impossible for a car. David also expected, even if the 108 turn of Nushan was blocked. One refers to the top of the mountain, and you can also escape by helicopter, but the siege has not yet begun. Do you simply give up the base people at the top of the mountain and run away? Impossible. After traveling thousands of miles to Chifeng Mountain, he picked up so many people, and then threw it on Yizi Mountain and ran away with a high-level escape. BHCD logically doesn't make sense. At this time Morgan also entered the monitoring room. What's the matter? I heard that Yizishan dispatched a helicopter to the plateau in Zone Z. Yes, Mr. Morgan. David pointed to the surveillance map. At this time, the screen showed that Yizishan's helicopter team had arrived in L City. The strange thing is the black spot representing the helicopter has been hovering over the Sea of Corpses. Strange, since it's escaping. Why have you been wandering around the Sea of Corpses? Are they trying to kill the Sea of Corpses with helicopters? 35. It's too self-sufficient, isn't it? At this time something even weirder happened. The helicopter team actually turned around, returned to the original road, and flew towards the ancient capital. What happened? They're back again. No, no, no. Morgan shook his head, and the look on his face became solemn. From the ancient capital to El City, the distance is more than 1,200 kilometers. And the fuel tank of an ordinary helicopter cannot fly that far. It's impossible to fly back and forth, and you see, from the surveillance display, the black dots are moving too fast. 35. It has even surpassed the speed of a fighter jet. Obviously, this is a modified aircraft, and Yizishan can even modify an aircraft. What level of technology do they have? After Morgan's analysis, the people in the monitoring room didn't look very good. However, Commander David gave a different view. Don't worry, Mr. Morgan. Regardless of whether Yizishan has the ability to retrofit aircraft, fuel is always a big issue. Once the Sea of Corpses besieges Yizishan, they ended up being forced to evacuate. Aircraft fuel itself is a scarce resource. And I can't do it yet. After leaving the base, the plane of Yizishan can fly in the sky all the time. Morgan nodded. Commander David's analysis makes sense. Wherever you escape, there is an endless sea of corpses to pursue. Sooner or later, when the fuel runs out, the plane is not a car, and it cannot land anywhere. It seems that Yizishan found out about the Sea of Corpses in El City, and just sent planes to investigate. 39. You continue to monitor. In addition, urge the zombies in El City to gather quickly to the 108 turn of Nushan Mountain. The sooner it is blocked, the safer it is. The other side. The magic modified helicopter team sent by Yu Keshu has returned to the base. Just flew around the Sea of Corpses. All the invisible Corpse Kings have been found out, and according to the signal tracking in the Corpse King's brain, the Red Queen has also found the Z area plateau, the base of the Zile people in El City. Xiao Yu was in a good mood immediately. I'm not afraid that you are hiding deep. As long as you dare to have any activity, I can find you. However, even if the base of the Z plateau was found, Xiao Yu still decided to stand still. Keep playing pig. There may be more bases. 277. Transform into water dragon. Double dragon water hand-to-hand combat. Xiao Yu asked the Red Queen to continue monitoring the Corpse activities in various areas. The magic modified helicopter was also dropped out for investigation in the direction of Diaoyu City, and the direction of S Province. New Corpses gather every day, which also means that there are new Corpse Kings and other types of chip monsters before the attack. All these invisible monsters must be brought out once the offensive starts. The first time, the control, the kill the rest of the normal zombies. It will become a mobs that brush materials. Not only that, the underwater monsters in the waters of the Dujiang and Xi'an, too, must be monitored at all times. At this time, Zhou Liangying walked in. Captain, didn't you say yesterday that you would take me to a place today? At this time, Zhou Liangying's heartbeat was very fast. Xiao Yu found her alone last night and said he would take her to a place she had never been to before. Zhou Liangying was very excited at the time. Nervous again. Isn't this just dating in her life? She has never even talked about a boyfriend, and she never thought that the first time she would date a boy would be in the end times, and it's so messy now. I don't know where the captain will ask me to go. Zhou Liangying began to look forward to it. Xiao Yu smiled lightly. Come on, follow me. You will love the place I will take you to. After he finished speaking, Xiao Yu performed light work and flew to the upper reaches of the Dujiang River. Zhou Liangying quickly followed. Soon the two landed on the bank of the upper reaches of the Dujiang River. Zhou Liangying looked at the green riverside and the slowly flowing Dujiang River, thinking to herself, there is nothing special here, neither romantic nor is it beautiful. It seems that the captain is a legendary straight man, and even the date place is ordinary, but that's okay with a person you like. Everywhere is the Maldives at this time, Xiao Yu said with excitement on his face. We'll go into the water later. Romance in the water? Don't be so exciting. In the first place and in broad daylight there are still parasites in the water. Will they burrow randomly? But the next moment, Xiao Yu's body suddenly began to deform, his head turned into a dragon's head, and then his body began to lengthen, covered with scales. Finally 4 claws grow in less than 10 seconds. A 100-meter-long silver dragon hovered beside Zhou Liangying, with the imposing aura of flying through the clouds. Zhou Liangying was dumbfounded. How did Xiao Yu turn into a dragon in a blink of an eye? Liangying, what are you doing? Hurry up and transform, and I'll go to the bottom of the water with me to see what those monsters look like. What? Only then did Zhou Liangying realize that Xiao Yu was going to take her to the bottom of the water for information at the bottom of the Dujiang entrance. There are a lot of monsters entrenched, although the Red Queen has detected the signal of the brain chip, but I don't know what monsters they are. Just right after Zhou Liangying joined the team, her skill Variety Actor was upgraded to level 6, and she unlocked Variety Beast. You can directly transform into reality, as well as fictional beasts, so Xiao Yu prepared, turned into a water dragon and dived into the bottom of the water to find out. Of course, although he transformed into a water dragon, Xiao Yu's Kexin skill can still be used, so can dive, can also fly. Got a bunch of cows. I'm in the water first, so hurry up too. Xiao Yu's 100-meter body plunged into the water, and Zhou Liangying immediately transformed into a female water dragon, followed by Xiao Yu into the water. This moment is amazing. Although it is underwater, it is like a fish in water, and it is very easy to swim, and the line of sight became clear. Most importantly, you can breathe underwater. They can even make voices to communicate. Although they are not speaking in human words, they can sense each other's meaning. Captain, in case those underwater monsters attack us, what if there are too many to beat? Xiao Yu raised his huge dragon head and said, no matter how many monsters there are, they can't hurt us, don't worry. The two dragons continued upstream. All kinds of fish and shrimp on the bottom swam by. Zhou Liangying curiously stretched out her claws and grabbed two to play with and released again. She didn't expect that her skills could still be used like this if Xiao Yu hadn't turned into a water dragon. Maybe Zhou Liangying would have to wait a long time to develop the magic of his skills. There are no humans at the bottom of the water. Although the line of sight is not affected, the light is very dim in this environment. Lonely man and woman. Zhou Liangying was getting closer and closer to Xiao Yu's dragon body. Before she knew it, the dragon's tail occasionally wraps around him. Looking down from the water, two vague shadows can be seen, playing like a play on the bottom of the water. Gradually, the sediment on the bottom of the water is rolled out by the huge body. Ask for flowers. For a time the clear water became turbid. Immediately after that, the waves began to roll. A large amount of sediment, along with the rolling waves, muddled the wide river surface. The muddy water has been flowing downstream by the pier of Yizishan. Several naval soldiers suddenly turned pale in shock, reporting to the commander, the water monster at the bottom of the river seems to be moving, and the entire river is full of muddy water. Anna received the information and immediately became vigilant. After the red, call up the monitoring and see if the underwater monsters at the entrance of the Dujiang River have been dispatched. Anna is Secretary of the Navy. She is in charge of the surface combat soon. The Red Queen called up the surveillance screen, and the entrance of the Dujiang River and the monsters in the Xian waters were still unmoved. Dense red dots are bunched together. Minister Anna, according to my monitoring and the lock signal on the monster, the underwater monster has not been dispatched at present. 99. That's weird. The underwater monster didn't move. There was no torrential rain, no flash floods. Why is the river suddenly cloudy? After the red, look where the river water started to become turbid. Soon the surveillance footage was taken to the upstream of the pier, 30 kilometers away from the waters, which became turbid from here, and the huge waves on the river rolled clearly. Something was stirring underwater, Minister Anna. Not long ago, the master and Zhou Liangying turned into water dragons and sneaked into the Dujiang River. It may have been the movement caused by them. Wait a minute, I'll ask the master. Captain turned into a water dragon. I'm going. Liangying's transformation skills are really amazing. Anything can be changed. It is said that what an actor acts like the premise is acting. Can this even play a dragon? Anna knows that professional skills are related to the nature of the profession, but Anna's professional skills seem to be too conspicuous. Not only can you become a dragon, being able to have underwater capabilities is no longer a show. Soon the Red Queen's voice came into Anna's communication headset. Minister Anna, it was confirmed that the place where the waters were turbid and the huge waves rolled was caused by the owner and Zhou Liangying. It's them. Did the captain say what they were doing? Practicing water melee combat. Water melee combat. Anna's eyes suddenly lit up. Damn it, can you still play like this? Again. 278, Underwater Battle Python Group, here comes Kwangsake. Dujiang waters. The tumbling river surface gradually calmed down, and two huge water dragons were quietly crawling under the water, as if they were resting. Gradually, the river water began to become clear. Xiao Yu and Zhou Liangying, with the bodies of water dragons, practiced hand-to-hand combat underwater for more than 2 hours. This hearty experience is amazing. At this moment, the two dragon heads stared at each other and laughed in unison. Zhou Liangying didn't even know what to do. I want to keep practicing, although I was quite tired just now, but with Xiao Yu's enhanced recovery, I can instantly be full of milk. However, Xiao Yu decided to go to the entrance of Dujiang first to check the situation. This is today's task. As for underwater melee combat, you can wait for the task to be completed before continuing to contact. The two dragons swam towards the entrance of the Dujiang River. Gradually, Xiao Yu and Zhou Liangying saw some dark shadows swimming under the water. Some of its 437 are coiled, some move slowly. Judging from the size, it belongs to the slender monster. Is it a water snake? At the same time, as the distance got closer, Those shadows also discovered Xiao Yu and Zhou Liangying, so immediately agitated. The black shadow at the front rushed towards the two dragons, and with a swing of its huge body, it rolled up the sediment at the bottom of the water, densely packed. At least there are hundreds of black shadows without rain, revealing a hideous face. Xiao Yu and Zhou Liangying can see their appearance clearly. All are water snakes. The whole body is pitch black, the scales do not have any luster, and there is a sense of evil that permeates the heart. Their eyes are blood red. The body is estimated to be 100 meters long, even more than that, a little longer than both Xiao Yu and Zhou Liangying. So many water snakes, Captain, what should we do? Xiao Yu was also shocked. These water snakes are definitely big killers. If they weren't red, they would have found them in time. In total, taking advantage of the dark night, they can directly raid the Yizishan base just by the size of these water snakes. Once attacked, it will inevitably cause huge casualties to Yizishan. And even ordinary survivors will be killed and injured. The Zilay people have a lot of tricks. Xiao Yu immediately released domineering supermetal, within 600 meters in diameter, forming an absolute domineering field. A battle python that rushed into the field under the shock of domineering. They all lost their ability to act and think, and the battle pythons lay obediently at the bottom of the water, motionless. That's why Xiao Yu dared to go underwater to find out, with the skill of being a domineering supermetal, there is no place you can't go. Zhou Liangying relaxed in her heart. Fortunately, the captain has enough skills. She carefully looked at the vicious war python in front of her every day. The sharp dragon claws cut across the hard scales of the war python. She can feel it transformed into a water dragon with a level 6 skill. You can easily tear apart the defense of the battle python, Captain. Let's do it now. Kill all these water snakes. 99. Stop having a lot of dreams at night. Xiao Yu shook the huge dragon head and said, no, you can't kill them now. 55. Once these water snakes die, their brain chips will lose the signal, and the Shire will notice it. You can't startle the snake right now. The chalet people think they are hunters, but we are. And I want them to expose more bases. The other side at the Morgan family headquarters base, the biochemical war beast observation room. Several Zilay technicians were shocked at this moment. How is this going? The brain domain chip lost its response. It shouldn't be brain chip unresponsive. It is usually caused by two situations. One is biological death, and the other is a severe shock to the brain, causing the chip to temporarily lose contact, just like Natayusa at the Snow Country missile base. She met Yarila and was asked by the Sheila to kill Yarila. Finally, Natasha slammed her head against the wall, causes the brain domain chip to temporarily interrupt the signal connection with the chalet base. Judging from the signal response on the observer, the battle python has not died. Could it be that there was a fierce battle between the war pythons under the water at the entrance of the Dujiang River? What kind of creature are you fighting? The technician immediately imported the monitoring screen. The water surface at the entrance of the Dujiang River was calm at the moment, and it didn't look like a fierce battle was taking place at all. Strange, why is this? 35. More and more battle pythons have lost the signal connection, and it is impossible to continue. 35. Technicians can only be in a hurry now. They can't even find the reason for the loss of signal, let alone solve it. Not just the Morgan family, including the Ross family, the Locke family, the Buffy family, the Burke family, and the Sassoon family on their base observers. The biochemical warfare python has lost contact, because the war pythons gathered at the entrance of the Dujiang River came from the branch bases of various families in the Eastern Kingdom at this time. Around Xiao Yu, there were already thousands of war pythons lying on top of each other. All were shocked by the domineering supermetal and lost their ability to move. Gradually there are no war pythons rushing into the domineering realm. After all, the orders they received were only assembled at the entrance of the Dujiang River, and in order not to expose can't attack surface targets yet. Therefore, the battle python behind did not rush with the front. Xiao Yu decided to return to Yizishan. Today's task is completed, and then it is only necessary to let the Red Queen continue to monitor. Liangying, let's go. 35. Xiao Yu and Zhou Liangying, with their huge bodies twisted, turned around and left immediately afterwards. The domineering field also dissipated, losing its deterrent power. Thousands of war pythons gradually came to their senses, and they only saw two figures that disappeared quickly. The war python did not pursue either, continue to obey the instructions, return to the entrance of the Dujiang River, and join the other battle pythons as the war python resumes action on the chalet observers. The signal that had previously lost contact was restored. This made all the chalet families breathe a sigh of relief, enough to come to the technicians after testing. It is suspected that due to geographical reasons, there was short-term signal interference, so re-enter the command. Let the war pythons collectively return to the bottom of the Cheyenne River because it is still early. Xiao Yu and Zhou Liangying, after swimming to the lower reaches of the Dujiang River, inevitably had to practice underwater hand-to-hand combat, practice new skills a lot. 2.3 more moves need not be unlocked during practice in the afternoon. Xiao Yu and Zhou Liangying returned to the base of Yizhishan, and Anna looked at them strangely. Captain 35, when will you temporarily replace the 100 mutant beast skill for me? I also want to practice underwater melee combat. 35 Xiao Yu smiled without saying a word. Zhou Liangying was a little embarrassed, and then performed light work and flew to the hilltop manor. Xiao Yu thought about it seriously. Anna is the Minister of the Navy, and she will definitely lead aircraft carriers and warships to voyages in the future. If it can have the ability to fight in water, it will be more suitable, of course. This battle is not another battle, it's serious. Okay, after this total is over, I will share the 100 mutant beast skills with you. 99 at that time. It will be fine whether it becomes a water beast or a bird. 279. Expand the number of legions. Kill half of the base. Xiao Yu came to the gate of the base. Han Kexin is interrogating the new survivor, and Lu Man is drafting a curse contract at present. The total population of the base area has reached 19,000, however, the more than 6,000 people who went out to Chifeng Mountain were actually only 12,000 people in Yizhi Mountain. That is to say, in the past few days, less than 1,000 people have come to Yizhishan. Xiao Yu also realized it must have been the sea of corpses besieging the ancient capital, causing many roads to be blocked and some survivors unable to come. In addition, there are two important water areas, the Xian River and the Dujiang River below are huge water snakes. The survivors who walked by water must have been frightened and finally chose to go ashore. Both water and land routes are blocked. The number of defectors will inevitably decrease. This is also impossible. The most important thing at the moment is to pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger, and we have to attract more chalet bases. However, although not many people defected, but Han Kexin was still very busy, because she wanted to interrogate more than 3,000 ordinary survivors in Chifeng Mountain. After classifying these people, the warriors of Chifeng Mountain should also do a detailed investigation. After all, it's been so long since the end of the world, no one can guarantee that these people who used to have deep beliefs will still maintain the fiery passion in their hearts at this time. Yi Keishu came over. Captain, the pilots you asked for training have all been trained. Since the fighter was modified by magic, lack of flight crew, so this task was handed over to Yi Keishu. After all, she was the Minister of the Air Force. The training is actually quite simple because the driving operation of a fighter jet is similar to that of the magic modified helicopter. It is all one piece for fools, easier than playing computer games. Xiao Yu followed Yi Keishu to inspect, and there were 50 pilots in total. In fact, there are only 32 fighter jets in the 3.5 generations and the 4th generation, and the extra pilots are used as substitutes. You can also take turns fighting. After mastering the actual combat technology, you can train new people in the future nationwide. Even with so many fighter jets in the world, Xiao Yu had to get them all. Moreover, the Red Queen has mastered 2 military bases through monitoring. Just wait until the total is over, just go sweep. Xiao Yu handed over 23.5 generation fighter jets and 10 4th generation fighter jets to Yi Keishu. Let her lead the pilot to adapt to actual combat flying. Xiao Yu has something to do. He found Tang Kingsu and Yikimen, and prepared to disperse the infantry army. At present, the infantry army has only 2,000 people. Tang Kingsu was the commander of the corps, and Yikimen was the deputy commander, but there were 4,000 people in the guerrilla corps, and there was no specific person in charge. It was because of time constraints it was only temporarily assigned to the infantry corps to command together. Xiao Yu was going to put these 4,000 people together into the Progressive Army Corps to form the 1st Infantry Regiment and the 2nd Infantry Regiment. Tang Kingsu is the head of the regiment. Yikimen was the second head of the group. Then put Yu Xiaojin, Shangwen Kaya Okio, Yunduo, and Zhou Liangying into 2 legions to serve as captains. Anyway, they are very busy now. Temporary position. When a new department needs to be established in the future, it will be transferred out after completing the troop formation. There is still a lack of chainmail. The newly added 4,000-foot army, 2,100 of whom need to make chainmail. This matter is handed over to An Xiaoran and Liu Tingting. Even if the production speed of the level 6 magic modified machine tool is very fast, it is estimated that it will take 2 days at present. Xiao Yu still has 40 level 2 experience orbs in his hand. He decided to upgrade the attribute mark to level 4. At that time, the soldiers of the Infantry Legion can be given another attribute. There are currently 2 sets of attribute combinations in the Infantry Army. The attributes of the Chainmail Warrior are 5 times recovery, martial arts transformation, lucky chips. The attributes of the Female Guard unit are 2x shooting, lucky chips, 10x bounce. Previously, It was only level 3 because of the attribute mark. Each warrior can only get 3 attributes, so the storage warehouse has not been granted chips dropped by monsters. They are all picked up by team members who have storage warehouses or space warehouses. Kind of hard. All Xiao Yu decided to upgrade the attribute mark and give everyone a warehouse, with 20 experience orbs crushed. Xiao Yu's attribute mark skill was successfully upgraded to level 4, and all the soldiers of the infantry regiment also obtained the storage warehouse attribute. Now the entire base is fully prepared, just waiting for the total to arrive. The Ross family in M City, Country Y, was the underground base of the former headquarters. Roth Connor closed his eyes and held his forehead with one hand. Today he is no longer the head of the Hexagon Conference. Even the identity of the patriarch of the Ross family was deprived by the Holy Master. The funny thing is, in the base where he is located, it is the Ross family that lives, 50,000 people in total, but at this moment, he was faced with a choice of life and death. 2 days ago Yizishin fired mushroom bombs at M City, the gate of the base was blown up, and nuclear radiation poured in on the top 4 floors of the base. 90% of the people died. The remaining 10% are not expected to live long. Worst of all, the doors to the base, as well as the intake and exhaust ducts, were blown out. As a result, oxygen deficiency has begun to occur below the 20th floor of the foundation. The worst is the bottom layer. All the high-level, already core institutions, are at the bottom of the base. It's hard to breathe now. Therefore, it had to be moved to the top, and there were more than 40,000 people left in the entire base, all of which were crowded into 20% of the space. Many people also consume a lot of oxygen. Continue on, and it won't be long before you will suffer from hypoxia. 2 days have passed now. The nuclear radiation outside had largely dissipated, and a decision had to be made to send someone to repair the intake and exhaust passages. Mr. Ross, do you really want to do this? I believe that Yizishin surveillance satellites must be keeping an eye on M City. We send people out, and they are bound to be discovered. What we are facing all the time may be the 437 precision-guided missile attack on Yizishin, and the entire base will be wiped out. Roth Connor let out a long sigh. What else could it be? If the air intake channel is not repaired, once the oxygen is deficient, people who can't stand it will rush out. The risk of exposure is greater then. Mark was silent for a moment. In fact, he had already thought of a way in his heart, but he had never dared to tell Roth Connor. Mr. Ross, would you like to trade half the population of our base for the security of the base? 35. Roth Connor frowned and stared at Mark with expectation. You have a way? Mark nodded. Yes, but the method is cruel, and I may even be shot by you for this. All this time those who can come up with ideas are those who are loyal to themselves, and Roth Connor is grateful. Rest assured, no matter what the method is, you say it first, and we will decide whether to take it or not, but I definitely don't blame you. With Roth Connor's assurance, Mark's heart dropped. My advice, Mr. Ross, is not to go out and repair the air intake. The opening of the base gate will continue to fill the base with oxygen, but it is not enough to meet the consumption of more than 40,000 people. 35. So, my solution is to kill half of the people in the base. Only in this way, only we can survive in the dilapidated base without being exposed. 280. Hand-to-hand combat requires diligent practice, but Anna takes the lead. Kill half the population of the base. Hearing Mark's suggestion, Roth Connor was shocked. This is equivalent to killing at least 20,000 people, and all of them are direct descendants of the Ross family, not heretics. That's too difficult. Mr. Ross, I hope you understand. Now, as the base goes down from the 20th floor, it begins to lack oxygen. More than 40,000 people crowded the upper floors, and the gap at the base's gate was blown up, and the oxygen that entered could not meet the consumption of more than 40,000 people. If you don't kill too many people, 99, we will end up losing half of our lives because of lack of oxygen. 99 among this half of the people. The first to die should be the elderly with poor physical fitness. Mark bit the word old man very hard because Roth Connor is almost 60 years old. His physical fitness is definitely not as good as that of young people. He has a greater chance of dying. Mr. Ross, and worse, once the upper levels of the base also start to lack oxygen, riots will occur, and people will rush out desperately. At that time, it will be discovered by satellite monitoring of Yizishin. The consequence is that when a precision-guided missile is fired by Yizishin, everyone in our entire base will die. Make a decision now. The consequences have been made clear. Roth Connor can become the family leader, at least once, and he is by no means a good man and a woman. It is good, just do it your way. 35. Kill half the population. 35. Tell me about the specific steps. Since Mark made this suggestion, he must have already thought of a plan. Gentlemen, since we're all crammed into the upper floors, it's also causing a lack of oxygen. Simply, on the grounds that the base is too crowded and it is necessary to take turns to the lower floor to temporarily live, the people who need to be eliminated are arranged to the lower floor, then gassed them all at once. This matter can be coordinated by Dr. Willis, who is in charge of the research and development of biochemical warriors, and it is easy for him to prepare poison gas. Just follow the ventilation duct 35 by releasing the poison gas to the lower level. You can easily poison the people who are assigned to the lower level. Connor thought more about it and nodded in agreement, although the base's intake and exhaust passages were blown up. The internal air circulation system was intact. Poisonous gas can enter designated areas. Do accurate poisoning. Mark, it's up to you to arrange this. Okay sir. After Mark took the order, he found Dr. Willis of biochemistry and told him the cause and effect and got a hand letter from Mr. Ross. Willis isn't stupid either. He also analyzed the current predicament of the base long ago, and Mark's method was the most effective, and he was in his 60s. If you don't kill half of them once the base lacks oxygen, Willis will also be the first to die soon. Willis led the team and prepared the poison gas. Then Mark organized high-level personnel and selected all the bottom-level people who were not very useful to the base, and it's a family contest. The purpose is to avoid future troubles. If only the old people at the bottom are poisoned, it may cause their sons and daughters to retaliate against the top, so get rid of the weeds. Soon the mobilization work started, and 20,000 people marched to the lower level of the base in a mighty manner. Most people are unaware of the danger. Only a very few people with sharper consciousness found some problems, because this group of people who took turns to live temporarily in the lower floors were all of relatively low status in the family. What does it mean? Is the family going to start to engage in class? Will we keep living in the lower floors, and those with high status will always occupy the upper floors? It shouldn't be possible, right? I also don't think it's possible. It's really urgent, and the above is also afraid of riots. These people simply don't realize it. They will be dead in no time and have no chance to riot gradually. 20,000 people were tricked to the 20th floor below, and then the explosion-proof door on the floor was silently closed. Dr. Willis years put poison through monitoring. Mark watched the green poison spewing from the ventilation duct in the picture. In an instant in the surveillance screen, panicked screams, helplessness, and wailing were heard. Even the hard-hearted Mark couldn't help but be moved. These are his clansmen. If it wasn't for the right to survive, who would have the heart to commit such a killer? It's all about Yizishin. If they hadn't fired mushroom bombs, this situation wouldn't have happened. Mark clenched his fists, turning off the sound of the monitor. I can't hear who's wailing and asking for help. And I finally feel better. Gradually people trapped in a specific area began to fall one after another until there is no one standing there anymore. Only then did Mark turn around and walk out of the monitoring room. He was going to return to Roth Connor at this time. Roth Connor was closing his eyes and resting. His face was a lot haggard at this point. He is no longer the patriarch arranged by the Holy Lord. He didn't dare to think how long they could live in the base. Mr. Ross, the task has been completed. Very smoothly. Mark's voice was slightly heavy. Roth Connor opened his eyes, but there was no joy or sadness on his face, and he just said calmly, burn their bodies, otherwise, the bodies will rot and the entire base will be uninhabitable. After the exhaust and intake passages blew up, the base is a closed space, and the corpses must be burned. It happens that the weapon processing factory has a furnace, and the speed of burning the corpse will be very fast. Yes, Mr. Ross, I will take people down to burn them tomorrow. Now the poisonous gas has just spread, and it has not completely entered those people's bodies. They are likely to be in a coma and have to wait. Roth Connor didn't object either. Now all he can trust is Mark, and he believes that everything Mark does is loyal to himself. Clean things up and leave no residue. Don't worry, Mr. Ross, I promise to get things done. A finger mountain. Xiao Yu gathered everyone for dinner, and it was rare to get together to eat a good meal. And everyone opened their stomachs. The table is huge and can accommodate a dozen people. After looking around, An Xiaoran, Anna, Liu Tingting and others were all there, but one was missing among this group of people. Han Kexin was busy from morning to night, and had the most trivia, so she was a little late when she came. Kexin, come and sit down, we're all waiting for you. 9 After sitting down, Han Kexin said, Captain, recently the Sea of Corpses has been besieged, and the mountains and plains are all over the place, resulting in fewer and fewer people coming to our base. 39 Xiao Yu also knew this, but he was in no hurry. The most important thing now is to lead the Zile people out. As long as they keep creating stealth monsters, the Red Queen can use the anti-tracking ability to find out their base. Okay, a busy day. I won't talk about work at night. Everyone has a happy meal. After eating and drinking, Everyone went back to their rooms, rested, and took a bath. Zhou Liangying didn't move after turning into a water dragon during the day. He became addicted to practicing hand-to-hand combat underwater with Xiao Yu after eating and drinking. I wanted to find Xiao Yu to practice again. Xiao Yu's door was closed, and Zhou Liangying was knocking on the door. Exactly Anna appeared, knocked on the door one step ahead of her and entered, and was taken first by leaps and bounds. 281. The D-City base is exposed, and the 400 mechas start the bloodbath mode. The next day, located in City D of Volcanic Country, where the Ross family branch is based, Barnard is frowning. The Ross family headquarters was baptized with mushroom bombs. He was fortunate enough to be appointed by the Holy Lord as the new ruler. This position was not even hot, and Yizishan fired mushroom bombs and bombed the volcanic country. As a result, the Holy Master chose a base in the southern continent as the Ross family headquarters. Barnard doesn't blame the Lord. He is very clear that both the former Ross family headquarters and his own D-City branch are facing the risk of exposure. One Finger Mountain surveillance must be staring at these two places. Commander Barnard, there is no oxygen in the lower base of the base now. If we don't fix the intake and exhaust passages, we're going to die here. Barnard's face flushed with anger made. It's true that the house leaks and it rains overnight, and there are nearly 8,000 people living in the base. The intake and exhaust passages are more than fried. Oxygen consumption in the base has not kept up. Your Excellency Commander, you must make a decision as soon as possible. 35. The adjutant urged. Barnard hesitated for a while, not knowing what to do. He has been struggling. If you send someone out to repair the base, you will inevitably be exposed. If you don't repair it, at least half of the people will die of lack of oxygen. Your Excellency Commander. 453. I know what you're worried about. If someone is sent out to repair the collapsed passageway at the base, it will definitely be discovered by Yizishan. 35. However, the mushroom bombs that our volcano country bears are much less powerful than the headquarters country. Y99. The collapse outside the base is not very serious. 35. Therefore, you can start repairing directly from the inside to the outside, so that the probability of being discovered will be much smaller. The adjutant was right. Although Yizishan fired a mushroom bomb at Y country and volcano country respectively, but the mushroom bombs that bombed country Y, with a total of 12 subwarheads, all fell within the range of City M for concentrated bombing, cause the shock wave to wreak havoc over and over again. The entire surface of M City seemed to have been deeply scratched by a shovel. The headquarters base suffered a very serious collapse. As a result, volcanoes are different. 12 subwarheads landed on 4 islands. The main island where D-City is located was bombed by only 3 subwarheads. It just so happened that the D-City base was not at the center of the nuclear explosion. Therefore, the damage caused by the shock wave is far less than the headquarters. Barnard listened to the adjutant's advice. I think it's very feasible. You are right. Repairing from the inside out. BHCD, those collapsed ruins, piled up inside the base will not affect anything. It's a big deal to have 2 floors of living quarters for the rubbish of the ruins. It's also a lot better than going outside to do repairs and risk exposure. Of course, Barnard is also very clear. Even if it is repaired from the inside out, there is already a possibility of exposure because it's built to the end with the rubble of the intake and exhaust passages being cleaned from the inside. The outside will collapse again like a well. Being blocks start to clear the blockage from the bottom of the well. During the cleaning process, after the interior is hollowed out, the items blocked at the wellhead will fall down. If the resolution of Yizishan's monitoring satellites is strong enough, it is possible to observe it, although risky. But Barnard had no choice. He still can't kill half of the base's population because his power is not as great as that of Roth Connor, the commander of the sub-base. Whether in terms of personal appeal or prestige, is not as good as Roth Connor, who used to be the chief of the Hexagon Conference. A Finger Mountain. As Barnard expected, the Red Queen was monitoring City M and Country Y and City D in Volcano Country for 24 hours. The host processor of the 7th level Red Queen is far beyond the imagination of the Zile people at this time. You can see it after the red in a certain area of City D. A ruin suddenly collapsed. She realized immediately that the area below should be empty. Master, I may have discovered the underground base in City D. Look. 35. The Red Queen replayed the monitoring and played it for Xiao Yu to check. Good guy hidden deep enough. Xiao Yu also immediately noticed the problem, so he ordered it immediately. Kaianun, let the air crew leave immediately, and we will go to the volcano country. 35. Chu Shui, you lead the Air Force Department with you. However, the helicopter team continue to carry out the original mission. Do not need to follow us. The mission of the magic helicopter formation is to detect the newly added water snakes in the waters of Dujiang and Xian. In addition, There are directions to S Province and Xiao Yu City. These two areas will have new corpse kings and stealth chip monsters every day. Helicopters must be constantly on patrol. Lock these stealth targets, wait until the general attack starts, and destroy them as soon as possible. Or brainwash them to control them soon. The air crew, as well as the fighter brigade of the Air Force, have all assembled, set off, except for Han Kexin, Lu Man, and Guo Xiao. The rest of the team also went together. Even Xiao Yu's personal bodyguards, Zhang Yan and Liu Ying, followed suit this time. Xiao Yu's purpose is very simple, to wash the D-City base with blood-mad scar. These Shirai people, men and women, young and old, are not allowed to stay alive. Xiao Yu rode on the back of a giant eagle. More than 400 giant eagles flew high in the sky. The sun set on the huge wings and cast a shadow on the ground, followed by the fighter brigade. Although the speed of the modified fighter is faster, it has always maintained the same speed as the giant eagle. Even so, it can also maintain a speed of 1,000 meters per second, and in less than 15 minutes, it came to the sky over D-City. But Xiao Yu didn't give a landing order. The fighter plane, connected to the signal of the Red Rear Host computer, constantly hovers at a low altitude and transmits the ground situation back to the Red Rear Host processor. Soon, the Red Queen found another huge collapsed gap. Master, here, this collapsed place is very large. And there is a gap 20 meters in diameter in the middle. 35. It looks like it should be the entrance to the base. The Red Queen is also very familiar with the Zilei base. Moreover, she also controlled the Luxalake's base and knew that the entrance to the Zilei people's base was actually a wellhead with a lifting platform. Obviously, this collapsed gap is the lift shaft. Xiao Yu immediately ordered, all are there, the air crew will descend outside this gap. The fighter jets are hovering in the air. As soon as any fleeing Shire people are found, shoot them immediately. Following the order, more than 400 giant eagles landed in a diving posture, suddenly slowed down when they were 10 meters above the ground, and then landed steadily with their huge wings flapping. Xiao Yu jumped off the back of the giant eagle. Everyone goes into mech mode, then goes into the lift shaft. The predecessor of the air crew is the mobile force. Everyone has a level 6 magic modified locomotive, but also modified the chariot mecha mode. Clap la la. The sound of mecha transforming continued to sound, and in a blink of an eye, 416 mechas stood majestically at the entrance of the lift. Only Xiao Yu did not transform into mecha because he doesn't need it at all. Come on, come down with me. 282, Supreme Commander, was killed in one face-to-face. The underground base of Volcano Country D-City is already in chaos at this moment. When the Air Crew Department and the Air Force Department were dispatched, the satellite surveillance of the underground base in City D found Xiao Yu and others. However, because the fighter is connected to the Red Host signal, a 10 kilometers area can be blocked. Therefore, what the monitoring room of the D-City base saw was just a moving black spot. The exact number sent by Yizishin could not be determined in what kind of army, but Barnard was certain that the collapse was discovered when the intake duct was supposed to be built. Damn it, is the resolution of Yizishin's monitoring satellite so strong, it can all be found. Come on. Everyone is ready for battle, hurry up. Although he was not sure how many people Yizishin had dispatched and the specific combat effectiveness, Barnard was very mentally aware this crisis is definitely beyond a nuclear explosion. The video of the bloodbath of the Luxalake's base has been seen by the senior management of each base. One Finger Mountain's individual combat capability is too strong. The entrance to the base is now a huge gap, and nothing can stop them from coming in. It's bound to be a life and death battle. Soon more than 3,000 soldiers in the base, as well as tyrants and lickers, all entered a state of battle. Even nearly 5,000 ordinary people all took up weapons and prepared to fight to the death. Barnard immediately contacted the new patriarch of the Ross family, Raymond, who is located at the base of Bassin Country on the southern continent. Mr. Raymond, this is the Volcano Country D-City base, and I'm Commander Barnard. We are about to face a Finger Mountain attack. Not surprisingly, this is an extremely difficult battle, and it is even possible to sacrifice all. We have no choice. Barnard hangs up the satellite phone. The battle suits on the ship, fully armed, soon entered the fighting state. Final call to Raymond. It was a farewell, and by the way, I reminded Raymond to delete all the information about the base if they were defeated. At least it can't be cheap. Barnard came to the mouth of the elevator shaft, where thousands of soldiers were waiting. This is only the 6th floor. Soldiers below a dozen floors. Each floor has hundreds to thousands of soldiers, all guns aimed at the lift. Well, this is the only place to enter right now. Lift shafts are like elevator shafts. Everyone stood at the elevator entrance, and as long as someone got down, they would be attacked by violent guns. Attention to all units, stay focused, and when you see something coming down, whatever it is, fire right away. The entire base was silent. Everyone was listening to the movement outside the wellhead because the nuclear explosion destroyed the monitoring equipment outside, and the satellite images were blocked. It was impossible to see the specific situation outside the base. Countless searchlights shot at the lift shaft. At this time a huge mecha fell from the sky. Exposure to searchlights without Barnard's order. The Sheila people who were guarding the entrance of the lift shaft on the 6th floor immediately opened fire. At the same time the 12.7 caliber heavy machine guns on the 10 chariots also fired heavily. However, all the bullets hit the mecha except for the sparks did not break defense. At the same time that the mecha fell, it waved the huge heavy knife in its hand, and a wisp of knife energy was released. Coming soon. Puff puff. The 30-meter-long sword key slashed across the soldiers on the 6th floor, and the heads fell to the ground wherever they passed. Even the Shirai hiding in the chariot not spared either. Tang Kexin's saber aura, ignoring defensive attacks, was of no use hiding anywhere. The mecha continued to fall. When they came to the 7th floor, another wisp of saber energy came out. Wherever they passed, the Zilei people were either cut in half or their heads fell to the ground. 8th floor, AE. Tang Kexin's mecha continued to release sword energy as it fell. At the same time at the head of the lift, the densely packed mechas kept falling. Although these mechas did not release the knife gas, but can't beat it at all with so many mechas entering the base. The Zilei executives immediately realized that this was not a bloody battle but a massacre. At this time, Tang Kexin's mecha fell to the 15th floor, where a large number of senior Zilei people gathered. Among them was Commander Barnard, and his lieutenants. Fire. Barnard doesn't yet know what's going on up there after all. It takes 10 seconds to go from the 6th floor to the 15th floor. It all happened too fast. The people above had no time to report the battle, so Barnard hid in the chariot and confidently directed everyone to fire. However, a wisp of sword energy swept past, and with a puff, even if he hid in the chariot, he was not spared. The knife gas swept across Barnard's neck. He opened his eyes wide. It was so noisy that it slipped gently and fell on the console of the cab. At this moment, the consciousness has not dissipated. 4 flowers. What happened? What the hell happened just now? The mecha waved a knife, and my head fell off. It's a mecha, not a mage. Consciousness gradually dissipated, and even when he was dying, a naive idea was born, thinking that it was impossible for mechas to deal mage damage. Dignified commander, he even served as the patriarch of the Ross family, and he was killed in the blink of an eye. Not just Barnard, 70% of the entire high-rise died. Clang. The heavy mecha driven by Tang Kexin landed at the bottom of the lift shaft. She jumped up immediately, using the mecha's gliding ability, and quickly left to make room. Really, as Tang Kexin left, another mecha immediately landed. It didn't take long. More than 400 mechas all fell on the bottom of the base, which was also the core area, the location of the controllable nuclear fusion generator set. Xiao Yu wanted to occupy the base just for this. Captain, we have already controlled the nuclear fusion power generation unit. There is no one here, but the oxygen is also very thin. I suggest taking everyone up first. Can, remember, none of the Sheila people in the base can stay alive. Yes, Captain. Tang Kexin waved his hand. Let all the mechas from below the lift shaft activate the leap ability, and move to the upper floor. At this time, the surviving Zilei people on the 6th floor realized that they couldn't hold it anymore, so they started to run outside. They rushed to the 5th floor, 4th floor. The 3rd floor finally came to the ground. The nuclear radiation outside has dissipated, which means safety. But when they got out of the base, what they saw was a majestic giant eagle staring at them. Hillary was stunned. Aren't these giant eagles the biochemical raptors of the Berg family? How come here at this moment? The fighter jets in the sky began to fire violently. Automatic targeting system. The gun hits the target. The 30mm ultra-large caliber, after a shot hit the body, was directly torn into pieces. No one will survive at this time. Xiao Yu had already come to the main control room of the base, and unplugged the power of the main unit with ease, then put on the red host. After the reboot, the Red Queen appeared in front of Xiao Yu. Master, this base has been controlled by me, again. 283, and Keisha. Alice. Tanya. Kill them. After the Red Queen took control of the base, she immediately took over the weapon system inside the base. At this time, the Zilei people in the base had become a mess. Hundreds of mechas rushed in. Moreover, even the large caliber heavy machine guns were unable to break through the defense, and resistance was a fearless sacrifice. The Shirai began to flee for their own lives. However, as long as it passes through the mechanism inside the base, it will be killed by the built-in machine gun or laser, especially those who want to escape from the secret passage, all cut into pieces by a laser mesh. Immediately after, the Red Queen took over the control of the biochemical warriors, commanded the tyrants and lickers in the base, and launched a frantic massacre of the Sheila people. The biochemical warrior, who was on the same front as himself a second ago, in the blink of an eye, He killed everyone around him as Barnard expected. It was indeed a massacre. Even if you run under the base, you will encounter the mecha troops that come up, and the Red Queen uses 453 to monitor and report points. Even if they hide, they will be found by the mecha warriors, and no one will be spared. The air crew, as well as the team members, killed the Sheila people without mercy. Everybody knows the Doomsday was created by the Sheila people, and their family and friends died at the hands of the Sheila people. Now is the time for revenge. Not being executed too soon is already a kind heart. Master, the information inside the base has been deleted, the Red Queen reminded regretfully. Xiao Yu just stopped. It doesn't matter, all I want to get is the nuclear fusion power generation unit at this base. As for those data, it doesn't matter. Xiao Yu was ready when he decided to bloodbath the D-City base. Satellite surveillance of the Shire will surely find them naturally. The data will also be deleted in advance. Noon, more than 8,000 people at the base in City D were all killed. Xiao Yu then ordered the soldiers to kill all the tyrants and lickers. There will be no survivors at this base. Even the entire volcano country will no longer be inhabited in the future. This is the meaning of existence, which is to block the tsunami for the eastern country. That's all. At this time, the knights of the air crew had already left the base and waited outside. Xiao Yu took the team to the bottom of the base due to hypoxia below. Everyone carried oxygen cylinders on their backs and stood in the warehouse where the nuclear fusion generator set was located. After the read, how to disassemble this generator set? Xiao Yu is ready to take it away with his space warehouse take back of Finger Mountain. At that time, the entire base area will have inexhaustible power sources, and even rely on this power to revive industrial production. Soon after the read, the disassembly process information was distributed to the team members. Not all need to be removed, just remove the connectors of each unit and pack it away. Go back and reconnect. The connector will work again. The nuclear fusion generator set of the Zile people is an extremely mature technology, and there is no technical complexity problem, and the Red Queen has mastered the Luxelake space. The commander at the time, Feely, had underestimated Xiao Yu's combat effectiveness, and after Xiao Yu entered the base, he only deleted the biochemical experiment data due to the lack of time. The repair, maintenance and operation data at the nuclear fusion generator set can be preserved. The Red Queen is also very familiar with this. Everyone followed the instructions and quickly dismantled the generator set of the base and put it into the space warehouse by Xiaoran. Xiao Yu went next door again, put away the seawater hoarding inside. Seawater is an energy material for nuclear fusion. If it is readily available, there is no need to go to the seaside to collect it. After all packaged, Xiao Yu led the crowd out of the base, mounted a giant eagle, and soared into the sky. He looked down at the devastated country. How many people have fantasized about stepping onto this land in the form of Xiao Yu, but they can only be in fantasy. Now it has succeeded. That Gao toilet is probably in ruins long ago. Even if there are very few survivors, they can't find a place to worship. Haha. After the read, continue to stare at the volcano country 55 as long as the survivors are found. Notify Keshu as soon as possible, and let her send fighter jets to kill them. What if there are survivors anyway? Xiao Yu made a decision long ago that there can be no living people in the volcano country. The magic modified fighter jet set off from Yizi Mountain, flew at maximum speed, and arrived at volcano country in less than 4 minutes. It is very convenient to perform tasks with Xiao Yu leaving in an underground base in the country of Basin, far away in the southern continent. Raymond watched the surveillance playback, and his mood could not calm down for a long time. Ever since Volcano Nation was bombed with mushroom bombs, the Lizardman immediately appointed the new ruler of the Ross family. It's Raymond. His base is located in the Basin country, under the city of Liger, and the entire base is 10,000 people. When Xiao Yu and the others just entered the D-City base, the Red Queen has not yet taken control of the base. Therefore, the Raymond base may check the monitoring of the D-City base, and he personally saw revered Metzja entering the base then turn on slaughter mode. Simply invincible, especially that man, like a god. His body is illusory and invulnerable. Raymond realized One Finger Mountain is much stronger than before, especially those mechas relying on the sea of corpses. It cannot be destroyed. No matter how powerful the zombies are, they cannot wear steel mechas. But okay, the newly developed biochemical warfare python not only has stealth ability, but also can spit corrosive acid. The purpose of developing these biochemical warfare pythons in the first place, on the one hand, it is to dive into the Dujiang River where Yizishan is located, and on the other hand, it is to deal with the chariots of Yizishan. No matter how strong your defense is, a sip of acid can break the defense. I hope that after the launch of the total, the Yizishan can be completely wiped out. I'm really fed up with days like this. We Shilai people should have cleaned up other infidels long ago. but now we can only gather all our strength to deal with Yizishin. It's really bad." Raymond let out a heavy sullen breath. Fortunately, his base was far away in the southern continent. As long as he was a little more stable, it was impossible for him to be discovered by Yizishin. "The Lord appointed me to be in power, perhaps that's why." At this time, Raymond's adjutant walked in. "Your Excellency, Commander, there's bad news. The 3 Super Zero fighters who got rid of our family's control have recently evolved again." 352.3 Raymond remembers these 3 people. They are Nakesha of Snow Country, Alice and Tanya of Sam Empire. "I didn't expect them to evolve again. Adjutant, do you have any advice?" "Yes, Your Excellency. Theoretically, these 3 Super Seraphiters are the property invested by our Ross family, since they are out of control of 39 and they already know how to get rid of the control of the brain chip. Even if they are caught and reimplanted, it will be meaningless. I therefore recommend recycling the property." "Recycling property?" Raymond stared at the adjutant suspiciously and motioned for him to continue. "Your Mightiness, I think that we should send stealth biochemical warriors from Snow Country and the sub-base of Sam Empire to kill these 3 Super Serum warriors. You can't let them live and continue to grow." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. 284, Alice, I want to go to Yizishin by helicopter. Raymond listened to the adjutant's advice. Kill 3 runaway Super Zero warriors. After all, they are out of control. If they continue to grow, they will definitely become the enemies of the Zile people in the future. Better to get your investment back sooner. Adjutant, I leave this matter to you, but I have one condition. It must be an assassination, and the number of biochemical warriors chasing them is small, preferably lickers, and can only do it inside the building. 5. The adjutant did not understand Raymond's intention. Today's biochemical warriors have stealth capabilities. Just send a few hundred heads silently. Surround these runaway Super Seraphiters and you can easily kill them. Why give up this huge advantage? Instead, send a few biochemical warriors, and can only do it inside the building. Sir, can you tell me why? Raymond pointed to the replayed surveillance video channel. Do you know how the Volcano Country D City base was destroyed? One Finger Mountain was bombed with mushroom bombs. First 35. We don't know the reason for the bombing. 17. I think it was the people of the East who chose the bombing with personal emotions. It just so happens that the volcanic country is small in size, so the D-City base has suffered an unpredictable disaster, which can be understood as an accident, but the second time the metro was dispatched, the entire base was bloodbathed. Obviously, when the D-City base was in the maintenance channel, a secondary collapse occurred outside, which was monitored by Yizishin. It can be seen that Yizishin's monitoring ability is very strong. If we send a large number of biochemical warriors and choose to do it outside the building, it is very likely to be monitored. Do you think what the consequences will be? The adjutant suddenly felt his hair explode. Yes, Yizishin definitely has synthetic aperture radar technology and the resolution is terrifyingly high. Otherwise, it is impossible for the air intake channel of the D-City base to monitor and see such a small movement caused by the secondary collapse. Of course, One Finger Mountain must not be monitoring Sam's Empire and the entire Snow Country at all times. If we send a large number of biochemical warriors to besiege 3 Super Zero warriors, it may not be monitored, but it's only possible. I don't want surprises. One Finger Mountain was unexpected. Raymond had to be careful, because once the biochemical warrior launched an attack, the stealth state would be released in case it is found. Then, the area where the sub-base is located is likely to withstand the baptism of mushroom bombs from Yizishin. The Ross family headquarters was abolished. 2 of the sub-bases were destroyed. Raymond became the person in power and could no longer lose any sub-bases. He had to maintain his absolute strength and prepare for the future family hegemony, so have to be careful. Adjutant, you go. This thing sends lickers, which are smaller and can climb walls, and are the best option for an assassination attempt. Yes, Your Excellency. Sam's Empire. At this time night fell. Alice and Tanya settled in a villa in the desert of Las Vegas. The window of the room was covered with a quilt. Candles are lit inside and no candlelight can be seen outside. There were few zombies in the desert, and there were no lights, so the 2 of them sprayed a lot of perfume on their bodies, so they could spend the night safely. Tanya, we have been wandering all the time. And it is not a solution. Alice is eating bread, staring at the candle in trance ever since they realized that they were being tracked by behind-the-scenes forces. Alice and Tanya did not dare to stay in the same place, only forced to wander around the opposite. Tanya took a sip of the milk that was about to expire, smiled helplessly, and asked, "Do you have any better ideas?" Alice thought about it in the end. "I decided to tell the crazy plan in my mind. I want to go to the Oriental Land 95 Eastern Country." Tanya raised her brows. "Do you want to go to the Yizishan base?" "Yes," Alice nodded. "By karma, are you crazy? Sam's empire is more than 10,000 kilometers away from the Eastern Kingdom. And it's still a straight line distance. Do you want to fly over there, or sail over there? It's farther to go by boat. It's estimated to be 20,000 kilometers. How do we get there?" Tanya thinks Alice's plan is crazy, although she is the special tactics squad leader. Helicopters, armored vehicles, and tanks will all drive, but she can't drive fighter jets and passenger planes, let alone an ocean-going ship. Alice stared at Tanya without speaking. "What are you looking at me for? Do you want to fly a helicopter to the Oriental Land? Do you really think so?" Alice smiled and nodded in agreement. "As you should know better than me. The Sam Imperial Army has a light observation helicopter that's great for long distances." 99. After being reminded by Alice, Tanya also thought of that helicopter, which is called a pony. It's an egg-shaped helicopter. The fuselage is very light, the stomach is big, can hold a lot of fuel, and has broken 23 world records, among them the endurance record of 3,561 kilometers has not been broken by other helicopters. Tanya immediately understood what Alice meant. "You want to use Sam's empire, the military base in the ocean, as a springboard, and then fly to the Orient?" Alice nodded. "Yes, I won't say why, you know better than me. In fact, Tanya really understands better. She is a special soldier and has more information on Sam's empire military. Before the end of the world, Sam Empire's military bases spread all over the world, especially from the mainland to the waters of the Eastern Kingdom, and built a complete chain of bases on the islands scattered with stars, mainly for supply and maintenance. These bases must have aviation kerosene. Only 453 has to plan a route, fly along these sea bases, land in advance to replenish fuel, and theoretically can reach the Oriental Kingdom. But there is a serious problem ahead. Have you ever thought about it? The satellite is no longer available. Precision navigation is not available. 99. If you want to land at the planned island chain base to complete the supply, you can only use a relatively primitive sextant to pilot. Of course, there is also more reliable inertial navigation, but it is relatively troublesome to go to the military base and download a new inertial navigation system, and the whole trip is nearly 20,000 kilometers. The weather at sea is complex and volatile, and there are too many unpredictable risks. 5. Alice, Tanya stared at her and said with a serious face, "I think flying a helicopter to Dongfeng Kingdom is tantamount to courting death. Tell me 99, do you still want to go?" Alice looked at Tanya calmly. Before she had time to answer at this time, downstairs and upstairs, the sound of glass breaking suddenly sounded. "Something's coming in." Crack-clap, the two got up at great speed, drew their pistols, loaded them quickly, and turned on their flashlights. Their cooperation is very tacit. One stared upstairs, one stared downstairs. At this moment, his breathing became dignified, and he quietly listened to the movement in the room. 285. Let's go to Yizhishan. 1 minute at 2 minutes, 5 minutes passed, and it was still quiet upstairs and downstairs, without the slightest sound. But Alice and Tanya can be sure something must have come in just now, and more than one. It was very dark in the room at night, and they didn't know who the other party was or how strong they were, but it can be roughly guessed it should be the mastermind behind the scenes, sent to hunt them down again. Presumably the strength must not be bad. They didn't dare to act rashly anymore, and the long confrontation in the dark night kicked off. The other side, the headquarters of the Morgan family, is located underground in the Desert Casino. The Ross family's sub-base in the Desert Casino dared to send invisible monsters to hunt down the survivors, which made Morgan Frein extremely angry. "Damn Roth Connor, oh no. Raymond is in power now. This BD can sit back and relax in the southern continent." 35. It brought danger to our family headquarters. 35. Give me a video call to the Raymond base immediately, and I want him to give me an explanation soon. Raymond's avatar appears on the video. "Chief Morgan, do you have anything to do with me?" 35. Raymond asked politely, "What's up? You also know that I'm the chief of the Hexagon Conference? Then you should know even more that the headquarters of my Morgan family is in the Desert Casino. But you asked the sub-base to send biochemical warriors to hunt down the 2 survivors. 5. You know very well, once these biochemical warriors are released from stealth They may be monitored by Yizishin. It's time to bomb the desert casino with mushroom eggs. It doesn't matter if your sub-base is destroyed, but my headquarters is destroyed. What should I do? What's your peace of mind? If there is no screen separated, Morgan Freeman's spittle could spray all over Raymond's face. He was furious now. In the name of the chief of the Hexagonal Council, I order you to withdraw those biochemical warriors immediately, and you must be invisible. Raymond could understand Morgan's anger. He explained patiently, "Don't worry, Chief Morgan. This time I only sent 6 lickers to assassinate those 2 super soldiers. They are out of the Ross family's control, continue to grow, and in the future, it will become a strong enemy of the Zile people, and must be killed. And I've given instructions to the lickers brain chips that they won't do it outside the building, so it won't be exposed. Don't worry, Mr. Morgan 35. Give me 2 more minutes and it'll be resolved in no time." Inside the villa, the area illuminated by candlelight is limited, and it is pitch black outside. Tanya and Alice's flashlights shot upstairs and downstairs respectively. After a stalemate for 7 minutes, the ears of the 2 moved almost at the same time. As super soldiers, they could hear more subtle sounds as long as they were alert. Swish, swish, the untraceable crawling sound entered the ears of the 2 of them. Alice and Tanya made eye contact. Both motioned to each other and heard the movement, and they are very compatible. It is estimated that the flashlight is shot in the other direction to deceive the ghost in the night. Gradually the untraceable rustling became clearer, of course, but only when they were super Sarah fighters. If it is an ordinary person, can't hear it at all. The rustling came nearer. When Alice whistled, Tanya understood. The 2 of them turned their guns at the same time, aiming in the direction of the sound. And the flashlights followed, but it was empty. There was nothing even on the walls and ceiling. The 2 shot without hesitation. They are very confident in their hearing and intuition. Bang, bang, bang. The bullet shot in the direction of no one, but it exploded the blood flowers, and then the monster was forced to act. Alice and Tanya were slightly surprised. What is this? The human body, the hideous face, and the long limbs, bent like spider legs and climbed on the ceiling. After being hit by a bullet, it didn't even fall off. It will be hidden. Be careful. Like zombies, they get headshots. Bang, bang, bang. The gunshots continued, and the lickers, who were climbing on the ceiling, flew towards Alice. Tanya aimed downstairs. There were also lickers leaping from the walls, but they have been exposed in front of the evolved super serum warrior. He became a living target. 1 bullet hit the head. The 5 lickers died in an instant, and their bodies fell on the floor, losing their vitality. Shush. Tanya motioned for silence. The 2 of them watched and listened, and there were still subtle voices on the wall. Alice drew her shotgun with her backhand. Let me. The muzzle is aimed at the locked position, and the trigger is pulled twice in a row, and the double-barreled shotgun ejects a large number of lead bullets. An indescribable scream rang out on the wall. The last licker was hit and was forced to release the stealth state. Tanya immediately refilled the gun. Bang, bang. 2 headshots were fired, and the last licker was killed, but they were still not worried. Back to back, the 2 moved slowly to check if there were any monsters in the villa upstairs and downstairs. After being carefully searched, it was confirmed that it was safe, but it is only temporarily safe. Who knows when the mastermind behind the scenes will send monsters to attack. The 2 went back upstairs looking at the ugly and weird lickers. I'm not in a good mood. You saw it. Exist. They can create invisible monsters, and we will be more dangerous in the future. Perhaps a general idea. 35. You might be bitten off your neck by this monster. Do you want to have no peace for a moment? Tanya looked at Alice without hesitation this time. He nodded and said, I listen to you. Tomorrow we will go to the army base to find a pony helicopter, then go to One Finger Mountain in the Eastern Kingdom. 35. In fact, Tanya also yearns for Yizishin. The Red Queen broadcasts every day that Yizishin is safe, has no shortage of food, and has even resumed agriculture and animal husbandry. It can be said that there is the pure land of the end times just too far away. What? Li Hao, Tanya never wanted to go to Yizishin, but the Zile people didn't plan to let them go and were forced to take the road of adventure, the other side snow country. It was more than 4 o'clock in the morning at this time. It was time to fall asleep. Black Dragon Riverbank in a private house. Yarla woke Natasha. The 2 of them took turns resting. In fact, Natasha took longer breaks, which she offered to do, because Natasha had to drive during the day. Also responsible for fighting, Yarla can sleep in the car. 4 in the morning. Everything is silent on the opposite side of the wide Halong River. There was a faint roar of zombies. And there was the Black Dragon City of the Eastern Kingdom. Natasha looked across the river. An idea was born in my mind. Queen of Red, One Finger Mountain. 55. Is it really safe there? Maybe I can go to Yizishin and see. At this time she saw the shore in the moonlight, and it seemed that something had come ashore from the water, but can't see what's ashore. Strong. 286. Total start. War Python stealing home tactics. Natasha saw the movement on the shore and instantly realized the crisis. Although I don't know what came ashore, she quickly drew her pistol and held a flashlight in her left hand, but did not turn on the light. Shhhhhh. She gave Yarla a little kick and motioned her to get up, but didn't make a sound. The two have cooperated very well naturally. Yarla also knew that Natasha must have discovered something. He came to the window with an automatic rifle. Natasha pointed her gun in the direction of Jiangan, shook it, and motioned Yarla to look over. The water on the shore moved again immediately after. The waist-deep grass seemed to be pressed down by something, and then crawled towards the house where he was 1, 2, 3 counted. There were 6 targets in total at this time. There was no movement by the river bank, and it seemed that there were only these 6 targets. Don't know what it is. Natasha took out a grenade and signaled Yarla to stay calm. She was in the moonlight and could see the grass being flattened, so she knew where the other party was. 6 invisible targets, moving slowly because of the untraceable rustling sound. It is covered by the sound of the flowing river, and ordinary people cannot hear it. Plus the moonlight is hazy. If it is not discovered in advance, it is difficult to lock down these 453 invisible things. Gradually they are getting closer. At this time, Natasha motioned for Yili to pull her hand. The two pulled off the grenade together. Fuse stuck. 2 dark sweet potatoes were thrown out and landed on the flattened grass, followed by 2 loud noises, and the grenade exploded directly. An indescribable scream rang out with the explosion of blood flowers. Those invisible things also showed their original shape. Natasha and Yarla turned on their flashlights one after another, and 2 beams of strong light shot out, clearly seeing the appearance of those monsters. A human body, hideous zombie face. The limbs were bent like spider legs and crawled on the ground, and the legs of several monsters were blown off. Fire. Natasha fired a double shot, and Yarla used an automatic rifle to increase her momentum. No way. She is a technical arm of the mushroom bomb base, and her marksmanship is terrible, and it is all Natasha to fight monsters before the end of the world. Natasha was an all-around agent. After the end of the world, he became a superhero warrior, and his marksmanship was very accurate. With a burst of double gunfire, the 6 lickers were killed, and the 2 stood in front of the window without moving, with flashlights constantly shining around, especially the riverbank, to confirm whether there are such monsters to climb up. After more than 10 minutes, the river water flowed slowly, and there was no abnormality, which proved that there were only 6 monsters. Go out and have a look. Natasha and Yarla went out of the house, looking at the ugly and ferocious monsters on the grass. There are some shadows of zombies, but they are not zombies. What is this? Natasha shook her head. I don't know, but I have a hunch that it should have something to do with a mastermind behind the scenes. 35 Yarla knows what it means to be behind the scenes. When Natasha was under control, it was only because she knocked on the back of her head with a steel pipe that she got rid of her control. Then what shall we do? According to the Red Queen, the culprit behind the scenes is the Zile people. It seems that these bastards did not intend to let me go, and it is estimated that they will continue to hunt and kill. No, we can't be so passive. Why don't you go to Yizhishan? There is a tall fence, although I don't know how strong the specific armed forces are, but the Red Queen has always stressed that it is safe. 39 The two looked at the other side of the Halong River, which was the Dongfeng Kingdom, but it was still very far away from the ancient capital of Shu Province, where Yizhishan was located. We shouldn't be able to drive to Yizhishan. Helicopter is the best option as an all-around agent. Natasha can't drive other vehicles except fighter jets. I remember that there was a base on the border between Snow Country and Oriental Country. If we're lucky, we can find the helicopter there. 35 However, you can only try your luck, and it is also possible that the helicopter was driven away by someone else. The other side, southern continent, Bazin Country, the new headquarters of the Ross family. Raymond watched the surveillance BHCD video immediately. He slammed into the table in anger. Hateful. It doesn't matter if Alice and Tonya are killed. The Snow Country is just after 4 in the morning, when people are most asleep. I didn't expect it to be exposed in advance. Don't Super Sarah fighters have to sleep? Worst of all, the licker who assassinated Natasha was killed on the banks of the river. I hope Yizhishan surveillance didn't notice this, otherwise, seeing the lickers exposed might raise suspicions if mushroom bombs were fired at the area. The base located on the border of the Snow Country is estimated to be over Sam's Empire Desert Casino, the headquarters of the Morgan family. Commander David walked into Morgan's office. Chief, Your Excellency, the Corpsey operation against Yizhishan can almost be launched. Oh, Morgan frowned. Report. The current number of corpses, 5. Yes, Your Excellency. At present, there are more than 80 million zombies in the mountains in the direction of Diaoyu City in S Province, led by 8,000 super corpse kings. In addition, The number of new stealth biochemical warriors has reached more than 80,000, of which there are 10,000 underwater biochemical warfare pythons. Oh, that's great. Morgan's furrowed brows stretched out. More than 80 million zombies and more than 80,000 new biochemical warriors. This number is too terrifying, especially underwater war pythons. As a super biochemical soldier who can raid and break armor, his attack ability is very powerful. Each war python is more than 100 meters long. There are a total of 10,000 pieces, lurking into the base of Yizishan. And the damage caused is devastating. Moreover, in the brain chip of the battle python, the command to give priority to attacking the vehicle was input. These occupations include combat vehicles, tanks, aircraft, etc. If the corrosive acid was used to destroy the plane of Yizishan at the beginning, it would be perfect. Okay, pass my order. After the dawn of the Eastern Kingdom, let the Sea of Corpses initiate a total, and this time we must pull out the thorn in the side of Yizishan. The commander did not take orders immediately. He pondered for a moment and said, Your Excellency, I have a suggestion. You said 55. I think the underwater battle python can be slowed down. Tomorrow, let the Sea of Corpses initiate a total. And after the power of Yizishan is drawn out, let the war python raid the base. 35. The base area at this time must have very weak defenses. 35. Let the war python kill the survivors in the base area, and then destroy the satellite equipment in Yizishan. 35. Morgan's eyes lit up. Yup, the most disgusting thing about Yizishan is its satellite shielding ability, which makes the people of Zile black. The corrosive acid of the war python can corrode any metal. As long as a large amount of acid is sprayed on those communication equipment, it will not even be repaired after corrosion equipment damage. A single finger on the mountain exposes the shield to surveillance. Okay, as you wish. First, use the Sea of Corpses to divert the armed forces of Yizishan. Let the war python attack the base again. 35. 287. Armored torrent, fighter jets take off, anti-hunting action. One Finger Mountain. In the morning there is a fragrant floral fragrance in the air, which is refreshing and refreshing. This is thanks to Bai Jin's ecological transformation skill upgrade, the ability of level 6 skills to purify the ubiquitous zombie odor near the entire One Finger Mountain. The air is cleaner and fresher than before the end of the world, just like pure nature natural oxygen. Xiao Yu was sitting in the garden drinking morning tea at this time. The team members also got up one after another, and everyone had breakfast together. The atmosphere was very harmonious, talking and laughing. Even if the Sea of Corpses is besieged for Yizishan, there is no threat. The current means are too many at this time. The Red Queen reminded, Master, the Sea of Corpses has begun to move, and it has already begun to march out of the mountain. It is expected that the leading troops will enter the ancient capital plain at noon. Xiao Yu sighed regretfully. It seems that I can't go on pretending to be a pig. Well, we should also prepare to close the net. After everyone has eaten breakfast, come to the conference room. In the huge conference room, 17 team members gathered, including Xiao Yu's personal bodyguards Zhang Yan and Liu Ying, who also participated in this meeting. The Red Queen put 2 panoramic surveillance images in the conference room. Tactics are laid out early on. Right now it's just a pre-war release. Chu Shui, your helicopter team will be responsible for the brainwashing Corpse King this time. Except for Xia Xiao's garrison guard in the city, everyone else has to go out, including Kexin and Lu Man. Each of them will take a helicopter. I will give you the enhanced brainwashing skill, which will be responsible for turning the invisible Corpse King into our puppet and guiding the Sea of Corpses to the designated place. Kill 35. After upgrading skill sharing to level 6 last time, Xiao Yu has unlocked another group sharing, which has not been used yet. It was kept for this Corpse C general attack. Despite Shangwen Kaiokio's enhanced brainwashing, after reaching level 6, Xiao Yu and Kaiokio both had 6,000 puppet places, but they each brainwashed 3,000 zombies and are currently fighting in the ancient capital. There are also 600 giant eagles and more than 400 Corpse Kings. In other words, they only have more than 2,000 places left for intensive brainwashing. From the analysis of past experience, a Corpse King can probably control over 10,000 zombies. In this general attack on the Corpse C, it is estimated that there are more than 80 million zombies. There are at least 8,000 Corpse Kings relying on Xiao Yu and Shangwen Kaiokio's remaining puppet places. They would definitely not be able to brainwash so many Corpse Kings, and the entire Sea of Corpses, as well as the Corpse King, are distributed in the mountains. The battle line is too long. It is necessary to rely on the team members to dispatch, in order to control the Corpse C army at the first time, but it's not enough just to have the enhanced brainwashing skill. Because there are too many stealth targets, 9 according to the data obtained by the Red Queen, There are no less than 80,000 targets, and it is very difficult to find the Corpse King from these targets, so in each helicopter, there is also a Knight of the Air crew, and I will temporarily grant a domineering supermetal skill, as long as the helicopter flies to the area marked in red. Opening the domineering field will shock the invisible monsters below and expose the Corpse King. Go ahead and brainwash control. Remember, leave other invisible monsters alone. After brainwashing the Corpse Queen, immediately move to the next target. Those lickers, tyrants, night hunters, blood corpses and so on mixed in the sea of corpses. Nothing to worry about. Just brainwash the Corpse King. You can let them command the sea of corpses and kill other stealth chip monsters. Ants are bitten to death no matter how strong the individual combat capability of the biochemical warriors is. They can't handle the huge sea of corpses. Xiao, I want to arrange a special task for you. According to the hint of the Red Queen, there are more than 2,000 stealth targets in the air, and if nothing else, it should be a giant eagle 99 this time, because you went. All these giant eagles were brainwashed into losses, then incorporated into the garrison. Guo Xiao nodded happily because the base area has always been safe. The number of garrison troops guarding the city has not increased. If more than 2,000 giant eagles can be brought into the defense force, not only can make a finger mountain with safety at the same time, the power in Guo Xiao's hands is also stronger. And the status of Yizishan will naturally improve. Xiao Yu continued, as for those giant snakes in the water, the original plan was to kill them with rockets. The rocket launcher after the level 6 magic modification has the ability to strike underwater. It's easy to blow up those war pythons, but I changed my mind. The number of giant water snakes, according to the Red Queen detection, is about 10,000. I decided to let Zhou Liangying and Anna go into the water with me to brainwash these giant water snakes and turn them into our naval combat units. 100-meter long water snake, flowers. The combat power is definitely sturdy since Zhou Liangying joined the team. The 6th level versatile actor unlocked variety beasts. Xiao Yu turned into a water dragon and dived into the bottom of the river, and made up his mind when he saw those war pythons turn them into their own water power. It just so happens that Anna is the Secretary of the Navy. Don't share enhanced brainwashing with her. Change it to variable actor. Okay, the tactical arrangement is almost done. Queen Red, what's going on with those giant snakes under the water? Switch the monitor screen out. After red, the panoramic bird's eye view is the waters of the Xian River, and the dense red dots above represent every battle python. Master, the giant snake in the water has not moved. According to my analysis, the chalet people should not know that I have underwater detection capabilities. Thinking that we have not found these giant snakes, thus these serpents are the trump card of the Shirai 35. It is very likely that the plan is to launch a sneak attack on our Yizishan at a critical moment. Xiao Yu thought about it carefully. It is indeed possible, otherwise, it makes no sense that the Sea of Corpses launched a general attack, but the giant snake in the water did not move. The Sea of Corpses acted early in the morning. It seems to be preparing to draw our strength out to fight the Sea of Corpses during the day. Wait till night. We belong on the defensive, plus a day of fighting. The Shirai must be exhausted for our fighters, so they want to use the giant snake to attack the base at night. Xiao Yu wasn't sure if his guess was correct, but there shouldn't be much deviation. In this case, we will take the initiative to control these giant water snakes first. Xiao Yu got up and said, Kingsu, Qimeng, you go and notify Zhang Shibei and Liu Hongwei's people, take them to the predetermined battlefield, and prepare for battle. Autumn, let the helicopter team set off immediately. Liangying, Anna, come with me. The code name of this battle, anti-hunting operation. After half an hour Yizishan base, the large force finally set off. 2 infantry corps, a total of 6,000 people, 200 chariots, 300 tanks, and 50 howitzer launch vehicles drove out of the base with a rumble. 80 magic helicopters took off. One of the 14 helicopters was seated with a team member. Their mission is to brainwash the Corpse King. 288, fixed point clearing. The power of the enemy is mine. Yizishan's team is divided into 2 groups. There are more than 9,000 people in the army department alone, including 6,000 people in the Mountain Foot Army. The Chifan Mountain Independent Regiment has 3,400 members. Add chariots, tanks, and howitzers to form a huge team. Among them, Tang Kingsu's Infantry Regiment and Zhang Shibei's Independent Regiment, a total of 4,700 people, went to Diaoyu City. Yikimen's 2nd Infantry Regiment, and Liu Hongwei's 2nd Independent Regiment, 4,700 people, headed to S Province. Xiao Yu also broke up the independent regiment into 2 regiments because he heard Zhou Liangying say that Zhang Shibei and Liu Hongwei are from the ancient capital military region and the H province military region respectively. The team of more than 3,000 people also came from 2 military regions. No matter who is the commander of the legion, the other part will not accept it, so it is better to divide into 1 or 2 independent regiments on the ground. Huge army convoy. Traveling relatively slowly, it is expected that it will take the afternoon to arrive at a destination of 453. However, the Air Force has already arrived at the battlefield. Attention to all units. I have sent the information map of the stealth target to each fighter aircraft. Please investigate the hidden Corpse King nearby. An Xiaoran was heading towards Diaoyu City at this time. It has entered the rolling hills, and below it are densely packed zombies, gathering towards the ancient capital along the hillside and wilderness. On the infographic provided by the Red Queen there is a dense area of red dots, which means that there are a large number of invisible monsters. Fly at low altitude and drive here. Air Knight, release the domineering field in advance. 9. Yes, each fighter plane is equipped with knights from the air crew, who are temporarily given the domineering supermodel skill by Xiao Yu. The purpose is to assist the high-level executives and deter the current stealth target in advance with a magic-modified helicopter flying at low altitude. Air Knights release domineering field soon. They came to the area where the stealth target was located. Under the domineering domain, all stealth units lost their ability to think and act, and it showed its original shape on the spot. Among them are many blood corpses, night hunters, lickers, and huge biochemical warfare beasts. In the middle was an ordinary-looking zombie, and Xiaoran recognized at a glance that the ordinary zombie was the Corpse King, because he had seen so many Corpse Kings before. All of them were mediocre. He is still being guarded by so many invisible monsters. The identity is more confirmed. The fighter jet is suspended and waits for me. The pilot suspended the fighter plane in the air for 100 meters, and An Xiaoran performed the Imperial Key and Qinggong to fly down, immediately brainwashing the Corpse King, and then rebuilding his wisdom. There are also biological beasts. This is a huge cow with blood-red eyes and an aura of rage all over his body. It seems that the weight is at least 20 tons and the skin is rough and the flesh is thick. The last time Xiao Yu tried it, he couldn't penetrate the 7.62 whiteboard, and the defense was extremely strong. Xiao Yu specified that this kind of war beast should also be brainwashed and become the gatekeeper of the base, so An Xiaoran also brainwashed these giant war beasts and reshaped wisdom. After doing all this, she flew back to the magic helicopter and let the pilot continue to fly to the next location. By the way, give orders to the Corpse King and the puppet war beast with his mind, kill other chip monsters around them. The other side, the helicopter that Liu Tingting was riding also came to an area where invisible monsters were concentrated. An Air Knight used the domineering domain to shock the invisible monsters to their original shape, and Liu Tingting also discovered one of the Corpse Kings, and the Corpse King is also surrounded by night hunters, lickers, blood corpses, and biochemical beasts. It seems that this is a tactic deliberately arranged by the Shelley people. The chip monster with powerful individual combat capability protects the Super Corpse King. Liu Tingting flew down. He successfully brainwashed the Corpse King and the biochemical war beasts into puppets, and then reshaped his wisdom and obeyed his own commands. Everything went smoothly. The Red Queen has locked these invisible monsters long ago, and now it is equivalent to closing the net with the Corpse King being controlled. The Shelley people suddenly panicked. Report. We have more than 200 biochemical war beasts, which have lost control. Bergchuk came to the monitoring room on the biochemical war beast observer. More than 100 marks turned gray, and the code next to it stopped beating. He realized that these biochemical beasts had lost contact. Call me the monitor soon. A panoramic surveillance screen appeared in front of you. After zooming in, you could clearly see that in a small ravine, more than a dozen biochemical war beasts were trampling on friendly biochemical soldiers' huge body, with a collision and trampling. The skinny dark night hunters, blood corpses, lickers, etc., were trampled and killed one after another. Strange, these biochemical beasts are still alive. Why have they lost contact with us? Bergchuk couldn't react immediately. What's even weirder is that they're still attacking friendly bio-warriors. How did that happen? At this time the Ministry of Communications reminded Mr. Berg, the Morgan family, the Ross family, the Locke family, the Buffy family, the Sassoon family, all sent calls to request. Bergchuk suddenly became nervous. Needless to say, these families came to question themselves, and the biochemical beasts killed the biochemical warriors of these families. Especially at this juncture of the overall attack, it is equivalent to destroying the military alliance operation. Put me on. There is no way. If you don't connect, you can't hide from these 5 big families all the time. Soon the video call was opened, and the pictures of the leaders of the 5 major families appeared on the screen. Mr. Berg, you must give me an explanation why your family's biochemical beast killed my liquor, and the night hunters of our Buffy family are also being massacred. What happened? Is it your technical fault? Quickly terminate the command codes of the biochemical beasts and stop them. 35. The people of the 5 major families were terribly anxious because of the abnormal beasts of the Berg family. The number is continuing to increase. That thing is rough and fleshy. Although the people of the 5 major families have revised the counterattack instructions, let the night hunters, lickers, blood corpses, tyrants, etc., to counterattack the biochemical beasts. But even the dark night hunter, the extremely sharp hand knife, can only split a little skin. 2.3. For the huge size of the beast doesn't work. The worst thing is that many zombies in the vicinity also surrounded them, besieging the biochemical warriors of the 5 major families together with the biochemical warfare beasts. Everyone, please listen to me. Bergchuk calmed down his flustered expression, and after he calmed down, he said, I don't know what happened either. 35. Those biochemical beasts that behave abnormally have lost contact with my base. It's out of control now. Out of control. Morgan Freeman frowned slightly, feeling a bad feeling in his mind. In fact, there was something he didn't say because he found that the Corpse King controlled by his family also lost a lot of contact. Not just Morgan, the Ross family represented by Raymond and the Corpse King controlled by him also lost some contact. This thing is so weird. 289. The Corpse C tactics failed. Hurry up and let the giant eagle escape. In fact, Morgan and Raymond didn't dare to say it because they had realized that there was something wrong with the Corpse King and their own family. A large number of zombies, together with the biochemical beasts, besieged other biochemical warriors. Someone has to carry this fruit. It happened to be the biochemical beast of the Berg family, because of its huge size, so it's more conspicuous. So they questioned Bergchuk for the first time, but Bergchuk didn't know what the problem was at this time. Morgan also realized the seriousness of the problem. He called up the surveillance screen and played it for everyone to see. Look carefully, everyone. Currently, there are at least 20 biochemical beasts attacking other biochemical warriors with abnormal behavior, and the number keeps increasing. If it continues to spread like this, our sea of corpses will be in chaos. The crowd watched the surveillance for a while. They frowned, realizing the seriousness of the problem. Bergchuk suddenly noticed a problem. Strange, in addition to our family's biochemical beasts, ordinary zombies are also besieging these biochemical warriors. Mr. Morgan, Mr. Raymond, ordinary zombies are controlled by the Corpse Kings of your 2 families. Can you tell us why this happens to ordinary zombies? This Morgan and Raymond didn't know what to say for a while. 17. The person who carried the blame was found, but the blame fell on him again. Morgan was silent for a moment. He knew that things had gone beyond his imagination, so he could only show down and say everything, and maybe he would have a chance to find a solution. Yes, our family currently has 13 Super Corpse Kings, and we have lost contact. I suspect that these Corpse Kings, who lost contact, commanded ordinary zombies to besiege the biochemical warriors. 99. This statement came out Berg, Buffy, Locke, Sassoon. The 4 major families were collectively dumbfounded. Even the Corpse King lost contact, and this kind of disconnection continues to increase. What can we do? Mr. Raymond, how about you? We lost contact with more than a dozen Corpse Kings of our Ross family. Oh damn, the news is really bad. Everyone, what should we do now? If we continue like this, the consequences will be unimaginable. The point is, we can't find a specific cause. 35. Morgan stared at the surveillance. Now there are many small moving black dots on the screen. Each black dot represents the block area. This fast moving black spot has long been analyzed by the Zilay people. It should be a plane pointing to a mountain. At this point Morgan noticed that a black spot lingered briefly for a while. Then the soldier in charge of the observer reports, another Corpse King has lost contact. Morgan suddenly shuddered, and he suddenly thought that the man in Yizishin could control the zombies. Could it be said, those Corpse Kings who lost contact, as well as biochemical war beasts, is it being controlled by the people of Yizishin, so they will counterattack other biochemical warriors? Although Morgan knew that Xiao Yu could control zombies, he felt that at most Xiao Yu could use this magical power alone. Now a large number of Corpse Kings and biochemical warfare beasts have lost contact in a very short period of time. It is clear this is not done by one person, but judging from the surveillance footage just now and the soldiers' reports, the Corpse King and the biochemical war beasts were indeed controlled by the people from Yizishin. It shows that there is more than one person who can control the zombies, and a lot more. FK, Morgan snorted, and the application was serious and angry. Gentlemen, I have bad news for you 39. Perhaps those corpse kings who lost contact, as well as biochemical war beasts, have already been controlled by Yizishin, otherwise the reason for the loss of contact cannot be explained. What? The corpse king and the biochemical beast are controlled? Impossible. Our corpse king, including all the biochemical warfare beasts, are all invisible, and it's not radar signal spoofing from stealth fighters, it's real stealth. And the surveillance of Yizishin will never be able to detect it. 5. Everyone didn't believe it. If Yizishin can find the stealth target and control the corpse king, it means that the corpse C tactic has failed. Even sent so many corpse kings to the enemy in vain. Gentlemen, I know you have a hard time accepting. 5. I have a harder time accepting this fact than you are. From the current point of view, the corpse king in the direction of S province and Xiao Yu city, as well as the loss of contact with the biochemical warfare beasts, are indeed related to Yizishin, but luckily, our air power, the biochemical giant of the Berg family, there are also 10,000 war pythons in the Cheyenne waters, which are still safe. Morgan brought up 2 surveillance footage. One pair is the giant eagle brigade in the sky, with a total of 2,500 eagles. The second is the monitoring of the Cheyenne waters. The dense red dots in the picture represent the biological warfare python at present. On the 2 surveillance images, there is no plane representing the black shield, which means that Yizishin has not attacked the giant eagle and the war python. Everyone, in my opinion, the reason why Yizishin didn't fight the python should be because it doesn't have the ability to monitor underwater targets. As for the giant eagles in the sky, it may be because there are too many giant eagles, and the giant eagles are crowded together, so they dare not rashly control the giant eagles. Morgan's voice just fell. I saw a moving black spot, flying towards the giant eagle. The airspace where the giant eagle is located is in the middle of S City and Fishing City, and the assembly has been completed very early. Just wait for the sea of corpses to enter the ancient capital plane, then initiate a total. Morgan held his breath for a while, and just said that Yizishin did not dare to hit the giant eagle, and the helicopter appeared immediately. Oh, damn it, this, 453. This should be just a coincidence, maybe just passing by. It wasn't just Morgan praying. The leaders of the 5 major families also hoped that it was just a coincidence. However, the person on the magic helicopter was Xiao Yu. Her mission was to brainwash this giant eagle brigade into her own puppet and incorporate it into the garrison. Commander, we are about to reach the airspace where the giant eagle is located, the driver reported to Xiao Yu. Got it. 35 aircrew rider, immediately release the domineering field. Yes, with the release of the domineering realm, the magic helicopter crashed into the giant eagle team, and the dozens of giant eagles in the front rushed over to attack the helicopter immediately. However, within 600 meters in diameter, the domineering field has long been released. The giant eagle that broke in immediately lost the ability to think and act, and its huge wings stopped flapping. The huge body fell straight from the sky. Xiao Yu realized that this was not possible. The giant eagle flew at an altitude of 3,000 meters, and it would surely die if it fell. Return the domineering realm immediately. 99 helicopter obeyed and flew under the eagle brigade, constantly attracting them to lower altitude. 5 were going to brainwash them close by. At the same time, during the video conference of the Shire people, Morgan immediately ordered, Mr. Berg, immediately let the giant eagles of your family escape. Hurry up. 290, all biochemical warriors, open the hang-up attack mode. Morgan realized that the plane that flew into the group of giant eagles would definitely attack the giant eagle, although it is still unclear what method Yizishin used to make the biochemical warriors lose contact with the base. In other words, it was controlled by Yizishin, but obviously if the giant eagle does not escape, I am afraid that it will soon lose contact with the base of the Bergchuk family. Bergchuk immediately instructed the technicians in the observation room to modify the instruction code for the giant eagle. Soon the instructions of the 500 giant eagles were revised and flew away in all directions. Xiao Yu in the magic helicopter was stunned for a moment. Have you started to run away? It is impossible for me to catch up with them all in a short period of time. Captain, these eagles are running away, and it's scattered. I need magic fighter support now. 35 Xiao Yu can only ask Xiao Yu for help, because the speed of the modified fighter is the fastest, and the speed of the 3.5 fighters reaches 17,200 km per hour. The speed of the 4th generation fighter is a terrifying 22,000 km per hour, and these wild giant eagles were not given 10 times the speed by Xiao Yu. The speed is only 180 km per hour. Fighters can chase back and forth, making them unable to escape. At this time, Xiao Yu was sitting on Yizi Mountain after receiving Xiao Yu's request for help. He immediately gave the co-pilot of the fighter plane a temporary domineering supermedal, and then ordered 30 fighter planes to take off. The magic-modified fighter has vertical takeoff capability. No need to run. 60 pilots immediately entered their respective fighter jets, and then quickly took off and rushed towards the fleeing Giant Eagle. The speed of the fighter is almost teleportation. 30 fighter planes surrounded the Giant Eagles that were scattered and fled in a blink of an eye. Yes, is surrounded, at the speed of a fighter plane. Even if the Giant Eagles fled in all directions, they could still be surrounded, and only 10 fighter planes formed the encirclement and released a domineering field. Any Giant Eagle that tries to run out of the encirclement will lose its action energy and chase it down from the air, but as long as it falls out of the field with a diameter of 600 meters, the flight ability can be restored. It's just that they have just flapped their wings, and they will be enveloped by the domineering field released by the fighter planes that are catching up, so they continue to fall except for the fighters forming the encirclement. There are also 20 fighter planes shuttled among the Giant Eagles, and the domineering field has been released. Where did the fighter jet go? The Eagle fell down after falling from a height of 600 meters. He could flap his wings a few times, and then he continued to be caught up by the fighter planes, and he fell down with a domineering field of shock. That's it. The huge group of Giant Eagles, in the form of a buffer, took a height of 600 meters as a buffer ladder, and finally all fell to the ground. 30 fighter planes shuttled continuously at low altitude after the domineering field frightened these Giant Eagles to the point of immobility. Guo Xiao flew down from the sky and started brainwashing the incapacitated Giant Eagle, and then reshaped his wisdom and became his own puppet. The other Cyberg family base. Bergchuk looked at the observer, and the Giant Eagles kept losing contact. He switched to the surveillance screen again at the place where the Giant Eagle lost contact. It was shielded by a circle of black mosaics, which was the shielding circle formed by the constantly shuttled fighters. Fake 9. The Giant Eagle still couldn't escape, and was controlled by the people from Yizishan at this time. The video conference of the 6 major families was still open here. Bergchuk scowled. The leaders of the other 5 major families all sighed helplessly. The Eagle Legion was also under control and just delayed for a while. More than 200 corpse kings were controlled, and many giant biochemical beasts were controlled. Blood corpses, tyrants, lickers, night hunters, etc. The number of deaths exceeded 2,000. Go on like this tomorrow at the latest. Not only all the corpse kings will become puppets, but even the biochemical warriors will die. Damn, how on earth did Yizishan discover these invisible biochemical warriors? It doesn't make sense. Morgan Freeman couldn't understand why this was a physical invisibility. No matter how powerful Yizishan's monitoring ability was, it's impossible to detect even invisible things. Right, everyone, is there such a possibility? Yizishan's radar satellite has low-frequency biological signal detection, and they detected the biochemical warrior's brain domain chip band, so it is possible to precisely target invisible biochemical warriors. The speaker was Raymond, the head of the Ross family. Although he is a newly promoted person in power and his status is not high, Raymond's mind is still relatively clear. Just imagine, we initially found that man, and we can accurately find the Corpse King in the Corpse Tide 39 at that time. It was a surveillance satellite, and it was discovered that the Corpse King was different before, so it was able to lock the Corpse King in the Corpse Tide. Later we developed the Stealth Corpse King, but it can still be accurately locked, which is enough to show that what Yizishan has is not observation ability, but biological low-frequency band tracking. The voice failed as people in the video conference collectively took a breath. If that's the case, it's going to be troublesome. Since it can track low-frequency band signals, it can track the Corpse King, including other biochemical warrior signal transmission bases. That is to say, it is very likely that our bases in the Eastern Kingdom have been exposed. A stone stirred up 1,000 waves. All the people in power suddenly couldn't calm down. Come on, modify the instructions of the biochemical warriors and let them attack Yizishan at full speed. 39. Then we cut the signal connection. Let them play freely. 39. Modify the fixed command, just like a game hang-up command, no longer controlled by humans. Mr. Morgan, what about those underwater war pythons? Morgan isn't sure now either. It seems that the underwater war python has not been exposed yet, but it cannot be 100% sure. Morgan thought for a moment and said, also amend the fixed order and then cut off the ties. Hurry up, let these war pythons attack Yizishan immediately. They can't wait for dark. Morgan dared not take the risk. Zeus, if the Corpse King, Tyrant, Licker, Blood Corpse, and Night Hunter, the low-frequency signals in their brains may expose the signal transmitting base. Not much is actually exposed. Both are bases in the 2 directions of Diaoyu City and S Province. A rough estimate There are only 5 or 6 bases, but biochemical warfare pythons are different in the entire Eastern Kingdom. All the foundations close to the river have been transformed with biochemical warfare pythons, which sneak into the Xian from the river if the biological low-frequency signals of these war pythons are tracked. It is equivalent to exposing these bases, which is an unacceptable loss for the Zile people, so Morgan couldn't take a chance. The people of the 6 major families acted immediately, first modifying the fixed instructions of the land biochemical warriors and letting them hang up and attack Yizishan. Then I modified the instructions of the underwater war python do at all time to break in the afternoon. 10,000 underwater war pythons turned on the hang-up mode and quickly swam from the Xian waters to the Dujiang River. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. 291, The Woman on Wangjiang Mountain, The Trio of Walking on Water. A Finger Mountain 30 fighter planes flew back to the base, and then Guozaya Oxio flew back with 2,500 Giant Eagles. However, the speed of the Giant Eagle is currently only 100 meters per second. They could not meet the requirements of mobility at all, so Xiao Yu immediately gave them the professional attribute of Yunduo 10 times movement. At this time, the Red Queen reminded, Master, the stealth units in the direction of Diaoyu City in S Province began to speed up to leave the mountains, and it seems that they will reach the ancient capital plain first. 99 Xiao Yu frowned. Are you accelerating, Queen Red? What do you think, Master? I think the Shelley people should have realized that we can accurately find invisible monsters and control them. 55 For the Shire people, the arrow is on the line at this point. And I also found that these invisible monsters have disconnected from their respective bases. Sheila people should suspect that I have reverse tracking ability, so the invisible monster was ordered to attack our base with all its strength, and actively cut off the signal connection. In fact, Xiao Yu realized early in the morning that the Zile people would definitely speculate on the ability of the Red Queen. After all, people are not stupid. Stealth monsters are controlled one by one, and countermeasures will inevitably be taken, but this is exactly what Xiao Yu hopes. Speed up the attack on my base? Haha. Xiao Yu smiled lightly. Order all the magic-modified fighter jets to take off, lock on to those stealth targets that are advancing at full speed, and the co-pilots use the domineering field to deter them. 99 Except giant war beasts and corpse kings, all others will be killed. Xiao Yu is going to use the game selection strategy. Let the magic-modified fighter choose the corpse king and the giant war beast at the fastest speed, and then the Red Queen will make a second accurate lock. After this lock, the members of the magic helicopter team can accurately find the corpse king and the giant beast, and then complete the brainwashing control. Of course, the co-pilot of the magic-modified fighter. After the battle, Xiao Yu will withdraw the domineering supermodel skill. Skills are not given to ordinary people casually, neither do warriors at this moment. 30 magic-modified fighter jets took off again and disappeared into the sky in an instant. Next is the massacre of the invisible monster. All units pay attention. The drop lucky chips must be picked up in time. Queen Red, you should especially pay attention to those invisible monsters. The lucky chips for their death, if there are any missing ones, BHCD, must mark them well and let them go to pick them up. This is from the stealth monster. The level should be higher. There is a greater chance of dropping level 2 experience orbs. There are still 17 members' skills. If they haven't been upgraded to level 6, they will rely on this corpse harvest to upgrade them. Maybe good luck. There is also a chance to drop level 3 experience orbs. Although it's just Xiao Yu's guess, there is still a possibility of dropping level 3 experience orbs. Owner the Red Queen reminded, the giant snake in the Xian waters has also been dispatched, and is swimming quickly towards the Dujiang River, and the Shire people have also cut off their signals. It seems that a death order has been issued to attack Yizishan at full speed. Oh, it seems that the Zile people have panicked, and let all the monsters with strong individual combat capability accelerate their attack on Yizishan, and then take the initiative to cut off contact. No surprises, the Shelley people have realized that you have the ability to reverse tracking, so they took the initiative to cut off contact. Yes, Master, but it doesn't matter. I have locked 25 bases. According to the information we obtained at the Luhu base, there are 34 Zile bases in Dongfang State, which means that there are still 9 bases that have not been discovered. For us, it's no longer a threat. Xiao Yu nodded. After the Battle of the Dead Sea is over, if these 25 bases are occupied, the Eastern Kingdom will be much safer. At least the survival rate of survivors who come to Yizishan to defect will be much higher. Xiao Yu got up and said, "Since the underwater giant snake has been dispatched, I can't wait any longer. Anna, Liangying, go underwater with me and subdue them." 35 Anna and Zhou Liangying did not set out with a main force just waiting to get into the water with Xiao Yu. The three of them performed light work and flew to the surface of the back mountain Dujiang River, stepping on the rolling waves and flying upstream the other side Dujiang River. Wangjiang Mountain. Li Xunlei took the 5 survivors and had here to establish herself. All women now, they have washed the zombie blood off their faces, revealing delicate and beautiful faces. The looks are all around 90 points. Li Xunlei is the most beautiful, with no less than 95 points in terms of appearance, temperament and figure. The reason why they had to leave the camp, it was because more and more people began to wash away the zombie blood on their faces, and the male survivors in the camp began to do something with some pretty female survivors, although not to the point of forcing. But Li Xunlei realized that sooner or later this kind of thing would happen. Li Xunlei is not an ignorant person either to be able to survive until now. Aside from some luck factors, no one is good. Li Xunlei has killed 2 people with her own hands, a man who wanted to beat her up and a woman who tried to rob her of food before the camp was out of control. She proposed to continue to Yizhishan, and the people in the camp did not stop her, and 5 women followed her at first. Li Xunlei thought that they really wanted to go to Yizhishan, but after leaving the camp, she spoke her mind unexpectedly. These 5 women are like her, they all look prettier, worrying that after washing the zombie blood on his face, he would be harmed by the men in the camp. So he left the place of right and wrong in advance. So they came to the Wangjiang Mountain on the banks of the Dujiang River to camp temporarily. As for what to do next, nobody has a good idea. The road ahead and the road behind were blocked by the endless sea of corpses, and now we can only wait. Fortunately, there are some farmers on the mountain. Millet, wife, corn can be found at home, as well as salt and oil, at least to fill the stomach. Their camp is on the edge of a cliff, and below is the wide Dujiang River. If unpredictable danger occurs, they can jump off the cliff. At least there is water below. How many chances of surviving at this moment? Li Xunlei overlooked the waters of the Dujiang River, thinking in her heart whether the underwater monster she saw a few days ago had already dived into the Dujiang River. I don't know which monsters will come ashore. It would be dangerous to climb up the mountain. While thinking about it, she suddenly saw that there were dense black shadows in the clear river. Yes, it's those things. They appear. I'm really afraid of what's coming. I hope you don't go ashore, let alone go up a mountain. Li Xunlei prayed. Suddenly, she saw 3 figures walking on the water in the distance downstream. Li Xunlei thought she was overwhelmed. How can a person walk on water? 292. Dragon vs. Deep Water. It was Xiao Yu, Anna and Zhou Liangying who stepped on the water at this time. The voice of the Red Queen appeared in the communication headset. Master, a large number of giant water snakes are swimming towards you, about a kilometer away. 99. At the same time, the panoramic surveillance picture automatically appeared in front of Xiao Yu's eyes. In the picture, densely packed huge black shadows were twisting and moving quickly on the bottom of the water. Originally, Xiao Yu planned to subdue these war pythons. Suddenly he had an idea. Anna, Liangying, will go into the water to fight the giant snake in a moment. 95. What? Go underwater and fight giant snakes? Captain, you say really? It's not necessary. Just brainwash and become our puppet. Isn't it better? Those snakes are so big, they look scary, not to mention women. Even most men are naturally afraid of cold-blooded animals, especially snakes. The underwater war pythons are more than 100 meters long, and their appearance is ferocious and terrifying. If they go into the water to fight, it must be hand-to-hand combat. Just thinking about it makes me shudder. Got goosebumps all over. Xiao Yu won't take care of the team members' feelings at this moment. Don't talk nonsense. You have to fight in the water later, especially Anna. 35. You are the Minister of the Navy, and in the future we will transform warships and aircraft carriers into deep-sea operations. If you fell into the sea, or had to go to the bottom of the sea, without underwater combat skills, would you wait to die? Now is the perfect time to hone your underwater combat. 99. Transform with me. Xiao Yu's voice fell, and it turned into a 100-meter-long silver water dragon, which rose into the sky with a dragon's roar. Then he plunged into the bottom of the Dujiang River. Anna and Zhou Liangying glanced at each other. They mustered up their courage, and they also turned into water dragons and dived into the bottom of the river. At this time, Wangjiang Mountain. Li Xunlei was dumbfounded, her breath almost frozen. 5 women with her also collectively petrified on the edge of the cliff, unable to say a word for a long time. Grunt. Li Xunlei swallowed hard, took a deep breath, and said uncertainly, "The 3 people just now turned into dragons. Did you see it? Could it be that I am blinded?" Li Xunlei's cognition has been severely impacted, and the 3 people are running fast on the river. which has violated the common sense of physics and the principles of nature. It hasn't slowed down yet. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a dragon again and dived into the water. Li Xinli felt that she must have been dazzled. This is not a fairy tale. How can a person become a dragon? Xinli, I saw it too. That man and two women, are they humans or monsters? How can they become dragons? 39 Look, those three dragons rushed towards the black monster at the bottom of the water. The 6 women overlooked the wide river together. After the end of the world, industrial production stopped, so the water quality was clearer and more transparent. Can be clearly seen 3 faint silver figures are rushing towards the dark underwater monster group. Will they be bitten to death by monsters? It's over. They will definitely die. There are too many monsters. The women couldn't help but worry in their eyes. At least the dragon is a symbol of auspiciousness, and the 3 dragons are still human. So they instinctively stand in line with the dragon and overlooking the Dujiang waters from the cliff. The field of vision is wider. It can be clearly seen that countless densely packed huge black shadows almost turn the river into black. The number of descriptions is unimaginable. The 3 dragons are weak, and they are probably not opponents. Hey, I think your worries are superfluous. That's 3 dragons. Dragon is an extremely powerful creature. How can it be defeated by monsters? It seems reasonable to think so. However, no matter how powerful the dragon is, it is not invincible, and these 3 dragons are only 100 meters long. And it seems that they are not as long as underwater monsters at this time because the speed of both sides is very fast. They can only meet 300 or 400 meters away in the blink of an eye. War is imminent. The woman on the cliff suddenly became more nervous, but what they didn't expect was that when the 2 sides were 300 or 400 meters apart, those fast-moving black monsters actually stopped moving. It's like suddenly incapacitated. The 3 dragons were lined up in parallel at the bottom of the river, and the black monster opposite them was blocked by an invisible force. On the contrary, when entering a distance of 300 or 400 meters will stop involuntarily. This picture is so weird. Are these dragons capable of magic and can make monsters surrender? What magic? 39 Magic is something for foreigners. Our Dongfanglong possesses divine power, and the might of the dragon can shock all beasts. The sister paper who speaks is very watery. You can tell from the exit that you should have read a lot of fantasy novels before the end of the world. Ask for flowers, but the accident happened quickly. 3 of the monsters that had stopped and sank at the bottom of the river suddenly started to move again, twisting their bodies frantically, rushing towards the 3 silver dragons. Oops, out of control. These 3 monsters may be about to become refined, and Long Wei has little effect on them. Everyone was dumbfounded looking at the watery sister paper. I felt that what she said was inexplicable, but her face was very determined. Don't look at me like that. 35 The end of the world has come, and the spiritual energy has recovered. So the dragon was born to protect us. You have to believe me. Li Xinli and the other 4 sisters suddenly became even more confused. What are you talking about? Never heard of. At this time, the 3 monsters were already trembling with the 3 dragons. Everyone stood on the cliff, like watching a fantasy movie, and the dragon in the middle seemed to have the strongest fighting power. He quickly entangled the monster and kept rolling and strangling it under the water. Soon a monster was hanged. The scarlet blood, dyed red and clear river water, looked shockingly. Xinli remembered that the dragon in the middle was changed by the man, which was really fierce by comparison. The silver dragons that the 2 women turned into seemed to be much weaker in combat, and the action of entanglement and strangulation is also very unfamiliar. He was suppressed by monsters several times. If it weren't for the assistance of the male silver dragon in the middle, maybe the female silver dragons on both sides would have been killed by monsters. Are those 2 dragons too weak? Anyway, it's a dragon, and it was actually suppressed by a monster. So many water monsters. When will the dragon in the middle be killed? At this time Li Xinli saw that one of the monsters who had been shocked by Long Wei was rushing towards the male silver dragon. The male silver dragon tumbled and twisted, then he stirred his body, rushed out of the water and flew into the air in an instant, and his sharp claws tore it hard. A squeak. The monster that was entangled by him was torn into 3 pieces in an instant, and the blood and internal organs were scattered on the surface of the river, and the river water was dyed red. A group of women collectively petrified on the cliff. This fight is too powerful at this time. The silver dragon soared in the air, not in a hurry to fall, but changed back to human form again, and said, "Give you one more chance. If you can't kill the giant snake quickly, I will take back all the power I gave you." Again. 293. War python builds walls and traverses the Dujiang River. Xiao Yu is really on fire, obviously stronger than the giant snake. Just because they were facing snake creatures, neither team members dared to attack to know after they turned into silver dragons. Although they were not real dragons, They also possessed the physical strength and speed of a 100-meter body plus a 26-fold increase in all attributes. Even in hand-to-hand combat, giant water snakes can be easily killed as a result. One by one couldn't pass the hurdle in his heart. As long as he had melee combat with a giant snake, he felt terrified. Xiao Yu can also understand humans are born with a kind of fear of snakes, but understanding is understanding. This is the end times. No matter how scared you are, you must overcome it, otherwise no one will dare to go deep into the ocean in the future. After Xiao Yu gave Anna and Zhou Liangying a death order, the two also seemed to have the courage to break the boat, and began to gradually overcome their fears and reverse the situation. Xiao Yu is not in a hurry to 470, he kept floating in the air watching the two of them. Although the giant snake under the water has been rushing forward, the field of the domineering supermodel has a diameter of 600 meters. Xiao Yu was at a height of 100 meters in the air. The domineering domain can still cover the bottom of the water, and those giant water snakes that rush up will become petrified snakes as long as they enter the domain. Gradually Anna and Zhou Liangying overcame their fears. The two fought more and more bravely. Anna was the first to burst out in combat power. Two front claws tore apart the giant snake, and then Zhou Liangying also completed a beautiful strangulation. Captain, I killed a giant snake. I killed two. Great. Xiao Yu nodded. It seems that it is right to force their choice, otherwise they will not dare to face such creatures as giant snakes in the future. Xiao Yu turned into a silver dragon again, ready to dive into the water. At this time, he saw out of the corner of the eye that there seemed to be someone on the cliff. The huge dragon had turned slightly. This time it was clear that there were indeed 6 people standing on the edge of the cliff watching the battle. Seems to be a woman. As for what it looks like, it's not very clear. Xiao Yu suspected that they should have come to flee to Yizishan, but they were blocked by the Sea of Corpses, so he said, the Sea of Corpses will be destroyed soon, and then you can go to Yizi Mountain. Done. Xiao Yu's huge body dived into the water again, and then his mind moved. A giant water snake woke up from the domineering shock, then opened its bloody mouth and rushed towards Xiao Yu. This is how they practice. Domineering is controlled by consciousness. In addition to group control, you can also specify who is controlled and who is not. We continue to fight until the underwater combat is extremely skilled. Xiao Yu's thoughts moved. Pick up the lucky chip that exploded after killing the water snake just now. A total of 6. Ling. You pick up a lucky chip and turn it into an orange samurai sword. Ling. You pick up lucky chips and turn them into level 2 EXP balls. X1. The giant water snake is a boss level creature, and it can be invisible, and its level is higher than those of the previous chip monsters. Drop props are also better. Unfortunately, the level 3 experience ball was not released. Wang Jiang, Cliff Li Xinlei and the 5 women were already breathing heavily at this time, looking at the 3 figures fighting in the water. Their hearts trembled for a while. Not only can he become a dragon, you can still speak. You say, is he a human or a dragon? Whether he is a man or a dragon, I only know that he is a man. Haha, you are lost? Why, can't you? He's so handsome. I want to spoil him. 99. The girls rolled their eyes together. But he said just now that the Sea of Corpses will be destroyed soon. Let us continue to Yizi Mountain. Looks like he guessed our destination, but with so many zombies, can One Finger Mountain really be wiped out? Li Xinlei was full of doubt. Stand tall and see far. Looking out from Wangjiang Mountain, there is an endless sea of corpses outside, and even if I break my head, I can't figure out what method Yizishan will use to eliminate the Sea of Corpses. Do you think what he said is true? It's definitely true. Can a man who can become a dragon tell lies? I even suspect that he is the leader of Yizishan, when the internet was not disconnected before. I watched the promotional video of Yizishan, and there was only one man in the entire base. 5 just now. This man can fly, run on water, and turn into a dragon. So powerful. He must be the leader of Yizishan. Li Xinlei's eyes lit up. She had also seen the promotional video of Yizishan before, and there was only one man in the base at that time, and from the looks of it, there are indeed some similarities. If he is really the leader of Yizi Mountain, it is really possible to wipe out the Sea of Corpses outside the mountain. The girls nodded in agreement. They believed that a man who could turn into a dragon would definitely have a way to destroy the Sea of Corpses at this time, under the water below the mountain. The battle became more and more intense. A giant snake was killed. The blood stained the clear river water, and the battle situation under the water could no longer be seen. Every once in a while, though, there will be giant snake corpses broken into 2 pieces, or 3 or 4 pieces, floating up from the bottom of the water and being washed away. This scene has a very visual impact. A random giant snake, before the end of the world, was a desperate prehistoric giant python, but now it is slaughtered like garbage. Gradually the underwater battle stopped, and 3 silver dragons rushed out of the water and floated in the air. As the river flows, the scarlet blood was washed away, and the bottom of the water became clear again. The dense black snakes, like stacks of arhats, were about to stack up from the bottom of the river to the surface of the river. Just enter the domineering realm, they become petrified snakes. It happened that Xiao Yu, Anna, and Zhou Liangying, the domineering supermodels released by the 3 people, were enough to traverse the river, ensuring that no giant snake could escape from the blockade area. So the battle python one after another filled the bottom of the river. Now start to fill the river. The snake wall built by the war python blocked the flow of the Dujiang River, and the river began to surge up the river, making the river surface at this distance doubled by 2.3. View from Wangjiang Cliff. It became a spectacular picture of Wei at this time. Xiao Yu and the team members had become extremely proficient in their hand-to-hand combat skills in the water. In total, more than 1,000 war pythons were killed. The rest start brainwashing, and then reshape their wisdom and become their own puppets. As more and more war pythons became puppets, they took the initiative to swim to the shore. Hundreds and thousands slowly. There were thousands of war pythons in number, each of them terrifyingly and densely coiled on the wide river beach. It looks tingling. The girls on Wangjiang Cliff didn't even dare to make a sound at this moment. What are they doing? Why didn't those giant snakes attack? And they took the initiative to swim to the shore. I'm so scared. Will those black and long snakes come to the mountain to bite us? 294. Create a world of giant beasts, but also destroy Yizhishan. In the waters of Dujiang, Xiao Yu, with Anna and Zhou Liangying, is taking the time to brainwash the python. At the same time, the various headquarters of the Shelley people have fallen into panic on the biochemical warrior observation equipment. The red dots representing the signal connection are rapidly turning gray. The gray dots mean that their biochemical warriors were controlled by Yizhishan, just an ordinary biochemical warrior. The key is that the biochemical warfare python that is preparing to attack Yizhishan is also rapidly losing contact. 2500 giant eagles were controlled as the last trump card. The war python was also being eroded. And the Zile people realized that the battle of the Sea of Corpses had failed. Even the endless Sea of Corpses surrounds the ancient capital plain, but also lost the initiative. The video conference has not been hung up all the time, and the people of the 6 major families are in a turmoil at the moment. One Finger Mountain is completely out of control. We can't eliminate them at all, and even the biochemical warriors we transformed are just wedding dresses for them. Have to think of a better strategy. 17. The meeting fell into silence, and even the genetic code given by the Holy Master, which transformed so many biochemical warriors, failed to destroy Yizhishan. What can be done now? Morgan let out a long sigh. Everyone, don't be discouraged. The most fundamental reason why we can't destroy Yizhishan is that they can control our biochemical warriors. 5. The most important thing now is to figure out how they control the bio warriors and find a breakthrough. The leaders of the 5 major families shook their heads in unison. Everyone understands the truth, but it is easier said than done to figure out the principle of controlling biochemical warriors. Mr. Morgan, I don't think we can fight it out on our own. 35. Now we must ask the Holy Master to come forward. You are the chief of the Hexagonal Conference, and only you are qualified to meet the Holy Master. You should take responsibility for this matter. Morgan frowned embarrassedly. He had just taken over the chief of the Hexagonal Conference, and he was going to seek help from the Holy Master, which made him seem too incompetent. But now things are out of control. Continue to let Yizhishan grow, and I don't know what it will develop into. Nothing more. Okay, I'm going to invite the Holy Lord to come to the world. Morgan came to the altar of the secret room, knelt down and prayed devoutly, hoping to be heard by the Lord. But no matter how he prayed, there was still no movement on the altar. Morgan suddenly panicked. He felt that the Holy Master must be dissatisfied with a corpse battle. He commanded, this time that's why I don't want to show up. Heaven and earth conscience, this is not his fault. It was Roth Connor who planned the corpse tactic, and he just took over. In fact, Morgan thought too much. It's not that the lizardmen don't want to see him, but the lizardmen themselves are discussing countermeasures. Your Excellency, the Reincarnation Officer 35 One Finger Mountain is completely out of control, and even we can't monitor them. 5. The biochemical warriors transformed by the Shelley people are being controlled by them one by one. It is impossible to destroy the world by relying on the Zile people. We must do it ourselves. The lizardman adjutant reminded. The Reincarnation Officer kept spitting out letters, and he seemed to be in a very irritable mood, even in a mess. I can almost conclude now that the man in Yizhishan must have awakened part of his soul. Unfortunately, we can't know his specific strength, and naturally we can't check the prisoner's ability to find the corresponding list of personnel. The old empire is in Blue Star, Imprisoning the souls of the soldiers of the Alliance who died in battle. For each soul, there are detailed records. If you can know what the opponent's special abilities are, you can find the corresponding personnel from the record and make appropriate tactical adjustments, such as psychic warriors. You are good at fire attack, then I can use extreme weather to weaken the fire ability. From the current point of view, Yizishin has the ability to control biochemical warriors. However, I have checked the soul archives and have not found any souls with similar abilities. Combined, Yizishin controls all biochemical warriors, that is, monsters implanted with brain chips, so I speculate that they cut off the chip's signal, then use Yizishin's radar satellite to reconnect the signal and complete the control command. 35 Speaking of which, the Grey Lizardman adjutant seemed to understand a bit. Your Excellency the Reincarnation Officer. 35 You mean, we intervene, let the zombies evolve again? Posing a threat to Yizishin, since Yizishin can control monsters with brain chips, then I will let the zombies without chips evolve. Is this always a threat? However, the Lizardman Reincarnation Officer spit out the letter and shook his head. Not only that, we have to let the animals evolve as well. Even if this world is turned into paradise for wild beasts, we must destroy a finger mountain. If you can't kill the world, once the reincarnation device is restarted, even if a soul escapes, the existence of the old empire will be exposed. We cannot afford this responsibility. Of course, we don't have to intervene in this matter. We should let the Sheila people do it. We just need to provide bacterial samples. Tell Morgan. Don't get chipped again. The Lizardman lieutenant nodded. Yes, Your Excellency the Reincarnation Officer. The other side, in the waters of the Dujiang River, Xiao Yu, Anna, Zhou Liangying, the three of them have brainwashed and controlled all of the more than 8,000 war pythons in reshaped wisdom. Xiao Yu handed over all the quantities he controlled to Anna. She is the Secretary of the Navy in the future. These underwater giant snakes will all be commanded by the Navy, and they will also be able to free up 470 puppet places to brainwash other monsters. Liang Ying, you also controlled 3,000 giant water snakes. 5 in addition, your underwater combat capability is already very strong, so I transferred you to the Navy Department as Deputy Minister. Correct. You appoint a few giant snakes as leaders, and let them lead the giant snakes to clean up the zombies in the waters of Dujiang and Xi'an. 35 There are giant snakes cleaning up the zombies on the water. The magic helicopter does not need to patrol every day at this time. Xiao Yu looked back again, and the 6 women on the cliff of Wangjiang were still watching. Anna asked, Captain, those women have been watching us, and it seems that they are also the survivors who went to Yizi Mountain. Would you like to take them with us when we go back? Xiao Yu smiled. It's not that they don't have long legs, so why should we bring them? Since you're here to go to Yizishin, you can come by yourself. We're not babysitters. The zombies around here will be cleaned up by us soon. We are the high-level base in the base area, and we must maintain the attitude that the high level should have. Too close to the people is not a good thing. After Xiao Yu became the leader of Yizi Mountain, his vision and pattern were no longer the same as before, a little more clear. The high-level base of the last days cannot get too close to the survivors, does not reflect class, would not be inspiring. 295. The cannon fell from the sky and smashed the corpse into thousands of pieces. Is this a missile? It didn't take long. More than 8,000 war pythons, the leader who was given the power of command, brought them back into the waters of the Dujiang River. Some patrol Dujiang, another part goes into Xi'an. They will be responsible for the safety of water surface in the future. Queen of the Red, tonight, please broadcast to inform the survivors who can receive the signal. The giant snakes under the Xi'an and Dujiang waters are the war beasts of Yizishin, won't attack survivors. Let those who come to Yizishin by water can rest assured. Yes, Master. Xiao Yu liked it for a moment, and felt that there was still a loophole, so he added, you have to pay special attention to observe if someone hides in Dujiang, or Jiangxin Island in the Xi'an waters, and on boats. If you don't come to Yizishin for more than 5 days, let Anna or Liang Ying command the war python to attack them. Made the safe waters I created are for you to go to Yizishin, not a place for you to make your own door. As the war pythons continued to enter the bottom of the river, they were no longer on the shore, leaving only a messy riverbed. Okay, we should go back. Xiao Yu and the others performed light work, walked fast on the water, and headed downstream in front of Wangjiang Cliff. Li Xinli and the 5 women suddenly felt lost. They're gone. If only that man could take us away, but it doesn't matter. Didn't he say that the zombies under the mountain will be cleaned up soon, and then we can walk over by ourselves? 99 It's different. It would be a very lucky thing to be brought back by that man. Maybe it can be. You are dead, and you are starting to wave again. It didn't take long for the three of Xiao Yu to return to Yizishan at this time. A large number of giant eagles hovered over the ground. And the itinerary covered the sky, and the sun. Guo Xiao trotted over. "Captain, all the giant eagles have become my puppets." Guo Xiao is very happy with so many giant eagles joining the garrison. The strength of the garrison troops will increase dramatically. However, the flying speed of giant eagles is still relatively slow, and you need to give them some abilities. Now that it has become a puppet, Xiao Yu will naturally strengthen their combat power. Still, according to the treatment of the previous batch of giant eagles, Xiao Yu gave them 10 times movement plus life enhancement plus hardening. These three properties are very suitable. The speed is greatly improved, and after the life is strengthened, even if it is hit by a large caliber weapon, it will not endanger life. It doesn't even fall from the sky. It also has a hardening attribute, which can withstand a fatal attack every day. The other side in the afternoon. The troops from Yizishan and the two routes arrived at the two battlefields in Diaoyu City and S Province respectively, also known as the Burning Call. The reason for this name is because the two battlefields are located in the mountains. It was Xiao Yu who was going to burn the corpses of the zombies. Fishing town burning corpse call. Zhang Shibei led 1,700 people, and the 3,000 people already led by Tang Kexin were already guarding the side of the mountain. Zhang Shibei stood on the edge of the cliff looking at the bottom of the mountain. The strange rocks and mountains on all sides clearly do not belong to a military important place. He didn't understand why did the leader set this place as a battlefield. Commander Tang, this terrain is not conducive for us to fight zombies. Once surrounded by a sea of corpses, our only retreat is this call. If there is another sea of corpses on the opposite side, everyone will be trapped in the call, and there will be no way to go to the sky and no way to go to the ground. Zhang Shibei seemed a little nervous. He is from the Ministry of War. He is very keen on the analysis of the war, and can see the disadvantages of this place at a glance. He even doubted neither Xiao Yu nor Tang Kexin had military literacy before the apocalypse. Let them lead the war may be a mistake. Commander Tang, why don't you ask the leader for instructions and we can redeploy? Zhang Shibei didn't want to oppose Xiao Yu, but there are more than 1,700 people under him, and there are 3,000 people on Tang Kexin's side. There will be no one in the end can't be damaged anymore. Tang Kexin smiled. Don't worry, Captain Zhang, even if you don't believe me, you shouldn't doubt the leader. His ability is not something you can speculate. Mention Xiao Yu. Zhang Shibei suddenly lost his temper. Indeed, everything he did, he could not understand. However, it can lead Yizishan to become stronger and stronger in the apocalypse when zombies are everywhere. If this corpse sieges over, a finger on the mountain can firmly take root on the ancient capital plain. At this time, on the opposite top of the mountain, zombies began to appear, followed by the second hill, the third hill in the mountains near the battlefield. Zombies all appeared, densely packed like a tide, flowing from the top of the mountain, then collectively ran towards the mountains. Zhang Shibei suddenly became nervous with so many zombies. Once they rush to the call, and then go back to the mountain where they are, the consequences are unimaginable, and this dense as a tide of zombies, the visual impact is too great. Even if there are chariots and tanks behind you, you know very well that after hiding, no matter how many zombies you can bite through, but no matter how you console yourself, I couldn't control my legs from shaking. Not only Zhang Shibei, but almost all the soldiers under him were sifting the chaff. On the other hand, look at Tang Kexin's foot battle. The soldiers were in high spirits, and there was no fear or panic at all. After all, they were soldiers who had seen big scenes and fought with zombies at close range. Zhang Shibei felt ashamed. The professional soldiers he led were not as strong as the survivor soldiers of Yizishan. Gradually there were more and more zombies in the mountains. Zhang Shibei noticed that on the opposite hillside, there were some zombies that didn't move. This is weird. All the zombies rushed into the mountain, and there must be something wrong with those zombies that didn't move. Do not panic, they are all corpse kings, who are directing the corpse tide to rush into the mountains, and order your subordinates not to shoot at the zombies on the hillside for a while. If you accidentally hurt a corpse king, the leader will be angry. Zhang Shibei couldn't hear it clearly, but remember one thing, don't, Zeus, kill the zombies on the hillside. At this time the zombies in the mountains are already densely packed, and they are all gathered below. And they did not fight back on the mountain. When wandering in the distance, the roar of shelling suddenly sounded. Boom boom, boom. The sound of the cannon was long and dull, and Zhang Shibei could hear that it was the sound of a howitzer. Does the leader want to blast these zombies with howitzers? So naive, there weren't that many howitzers at all, and it seemed difficult to get into such a deep call. Just thought so, got slapped in the face. The next moment I saw an artillery shell falling from the sky and falling into the mountain call. causing a violent explosion with a loud bang. All zombies within a diameter of 300 meters were blasted into pieces. Zhang Shibo's scalp felt numb for a while. This shot is estimated to have killed at least 10,000 zombies. Is this a howitzer? Apparently it's a missile. 296. Howitzers blast the sea of corpses, killing 10,000 with one shot. Zhang Shibai couldn't understand how could the power of this howitzer be so great. A shell blew all the zombies within a diameter of 300 meters into small pieces, and the zombie at the center of the explosion was directly torn into powder. Never heard of such a howitzer before. The end of the world. When wondering, several more grenades fell from the sky with a rumbling explosion. 90% of the zombies in the mountains were killed. There are still some scattered zombies roaring, overwhelmed at this time. On the hillside on three sides, the densely packed zombies continue to run down, but it would take some time to rush into the mountain at this time. Tang Kingsu ordered, "Infantry warriors, immediately clean up these scattered zombies." Following the order, 3,000 infantry soldiers, armed with carbines and automatic rifles, opened fire below the mountain past the chain-mail. Soldiers of the original infantry regiment were not equipped with guns at the time for two reasons. On the one hand, the number of thermal weapons is insufficient. On the other hand, most of the infantry regiments were formed by pulling in the guerrilla regiments between them. The formation of the guerrilla corps was also a temporary decision in order to deal with the First Corps C tactics in Xiao Yu City in S province. Let the survivors of the base area fill up the number, but as the population of the base area increases, 470 also means that the number of soldiers can continue to expand. Therefore, the guerrilla army was drawn into the infantry army, and was given twice the shooting talent, and various guns and ammunition were distributed. However, due to the lack of practical shooting experience, even with 2x shooting talent, the accuracy of marksmanship still needs to be improved, so they were pulled out to practice shooting in actual combat. Tang Kingsu turned to look at Zhang Shibai. "Captain Zhang, now Zhang Shibai is an independent group, and the name has naturally changed. This time the leader pulled you out too. In order to train the soldiers' marksmanship in actual combat, let your men start shooting too." 9. Zhang Shibai suddenly realized, "I see. It stands to reason that those howitzers are so powerful that there is no need for soldiers to shoot as long as you wait for the zombies on the hillside to rush into the call, and fire the grenade again. You can clear the sea of corpses, but this way soldiers' marksmanship is not practiced. The order, shoot at once, only shoot the zombies below the call," violating the order to shoot on the spot. Zhang Shibai remembered it very clearly. Tang Kingsu just said that the zombies on the hillside, especially those standing still, must not be accidentally injured. "Commander Tang, can you tell me something?" You ask. 99. What is the identity of those zombies standing still on the hillside? Tang Kingsu smiled. "They are all Corpse Kings. It was the Corpse King who controlled the Corpse Sea, rushing to the mountains and letting our howitzers bombard it." "What? The Corpse King controls so many zombies to die?" "Actually, these Corpse Kings were created by the Zile people, but they were controlled by us. You see now." 35. Understand, greatly understand at this moment. Zhang Shibai suddenly realized that this is Yizhishan's trump card. Let the sea of corpses of your Shirai be as awesome as ever. People can control the Corpse King. You can immediately turn defeat into victory and use the Corpse King to control the sea of corpse. It's just that I don't understand something. Since we can control the Corpse King with a single finger, it means we can control the sea of corpses. Why not control the sea of corpses and kill all the zombies in the country? Zhang Shibai's name for Yizhishan has also changed, turning into Wei Yizhishan. It seems that a strong sense of belonging has been generated here. Tang Kingsu stabbed the tang knife and smiled lightly. "Isn't it easy to destroy the zombies in the whole country? As long as you give time, zombies all over the world can be destroyed. There is no need to lead such a huge sea of corpses, but it is not flexible. This layout. If the vision is not enough, the ideological height is not enough, and the pattern cannot keep up." Zhang Shibai felt like a douchebag in front of Tang Kingsu. It turns out that people don't look at the sea of corpses at all. Think about it. As long as you control the Corpse King and put it into other cities, you can organize the Corpse Sea army to automatically die. Corpse King, BHCD, is the most important. Thinking of this, Zhang Shibai also picked up his gun, and Shadi was also given 2 times the shooting talent, plus the previous shooting foundation. Basically the gun hit, but the headshot rate is only 10%. Zhang Shibai is not discouraged. He is very clear that as long as he has talent, progress will be very rapid. Boom. With a headshot, the zombie dropped a lucky chip. Pick up. Ling. You pick up a lucky chip and turn it into a green bolt. Exploded weapon still green. Zhang Shibai felt that all this was like a dream. Killing zombies could explode equipment. He quickly took it out of the storage bin. A 7.62 caliber bolt. The metal parts of the gun body have a green metal texture, fantastic. It also comes with a quadruple mirror. At this moment, he couldn't help but admire Xiao Yu even more, and even the materialist began to regard Xiao Yu as a godlike existence. Give everyone 2x shooting talent, storage warehouse, and lucky chips in a wave of hands. Not only shooting talent improved, it can also carry space with you, and can kill monsters and explode equipment. What is this? Not a god's method. Equally shocked, there is also Liu Hongwei in the battlefield of S province. The burning corpse here is also chosen in a place surrounded by mountains, so that after killing the zombies, you can directly pour gasoline into the mountain and you can focus on burning. Liu Hongwei was extremely happy to have arrived. One Finger Mountain is much stronger than he imagined. Those howitzers alone are comparable to the power of missiles. Liu Hongwei knew very well that those howitzers were brought back from the ancient capital military region, but can't figure it out. The power suddenly became so great it must also be the masterpiece of the leader of Xiao Yu, a man who can easily bestow various divine powers on others and change the power of a weapon. Must be an easy task. The howitzer is still the same. Aren't those rockets and missiles ruining the world? The more Liu Hongwei thought about it, the more shocked he became. I was even more fortunate in my heart, and even deliberately didn't even think about contacting the headquarters. Stay on a Finger Mountain. Mixing with Xiao Yu is better than anything else at this time. Xiao Yu was sitting in Yizishan, and the Red Queen called out the monitoring. In the rolling hills of the two battlefields, a sea of corpses like a wave was coming and going. 80 modified helicopters and 30 modified fighter jets, hovering over the mountains of the two battlefields one after another. Corpse kings and giant war beasts were brainwashed and controlled. Night hunters, blood corpses, lickers, tyrants, these monsters are useless to Xiao Yu. Kill all explosives, master. At the current speed, if you don't rest tonight, you can brainwash all the corpse kings early in the morning. However, the giant war beast may take some time. Other chip monsters may not be killed until it gets dark tomorrow. Xiao Yu nodded. Giant battles and other chip monsters don't matter as long as the corpse king is controlled early. The battlefield situation can be completely reversed. 297. Alice airborne on the island. No zombies are the most dangerous. Sunset. The sky was dyed red at dusk, and Zhuangyu stood on the top of Qingchang Mountain, overlooking the depths of the mountains. Look out at a glance, all are densely packed with zombies, and the roar of zombies can be heard from far away. Zhuangyu is holding a sword in reverse. There was a gloomy look on his face. I'm afraid the zombies in the entire fishing city have been dispatched. What the hell happened? Why do all the zombies in the fishing city run towards the ancient capital plain? Makeup Moon is a monk before the end of the world. The mobile phone was not used very much. After the end of the world, when the mobile phone was out of power, it was never used again. Therefore, I have not received any broadcasts from the Red Queen, not to mention the existence of the Sheila people at this time. She looked particularly dignified. If the zombies in the fishing city entered the ancient capital, the zombies in the ancient capital would also be added at that time. The entire plain may not have a place to live. She thought of the survivors of the ancient capital, especially One Finger Mountain. When the phone was still on, she had seen the promotional video of Yizishan and knew that there was a survivor base there some time ago. There was a fierce battle at the highway intersection between the Diaoyu city and the ancient capital. I thought it was someone from the Ministry of War who was taking over the fishing city. It's just that the battle ended soon, and now it has become a zombie counterattack on the ancient capital. And Zhuangyu was aware of the danger. She quickly came to the middle of the mountain. This is a cliff where a chain bridge used to lead to the mountain. It is also the only way up the mountain after the apocalypse broke out. Zhuangyu removed all the wooden boards on the chain bridge and put a piece of wood on it as a single plank bridge. Thinking of you, the zombies in the mountains and plains just now, like a tide. Zhuangyu also removed a single tree. Only 2 iron locks remain. It was so dangerous down the mountain. She didn't plan to go down the mountain anymore. She would practice on the mountain for the rest of her life. Since the end of the world, her cultivation speed is getting faster and faster, and her realm is getting more and more mysterious. After each entry to meditate, the aura shrouded in the whole body is like substance, entering the body with a breath, tempering the internal organs. There are even some ki that form energy in the body. Even a soft sword, by mobilizing the energy of ki, it can also pierce a pine tree with a thick arm. Amazing. Zhuangyu decided not to go down the mountain and concentrated on practicing this mysterious ki. After she dismantled the single plank bridge up the mountain, she returned to the mountain. It was getting dark, and she had to rush the pigs and chickens back to the pen. The other side, snow country, Nikui military region. Natasha and Yarla searched the military area and finally found a helicopter that could fly. Snow country has a small population. When the apocalypse broke out, the degree of danger was far less intense than that of the Eastern Kingdom. Therefore, Some people who did not change their bodies fled in helicopters. There were also some people who had just taken off in the helicopter, and then crashed the plane as the corpse changed. It has been very lucky to have been able to find the undamaged helicopter. Natasha refuels the helicopter. However, the straight line distance from the Naku military region to the ancient capital of the Eastern Kingdom is more than 3,000 kilometers. Snow country's armed helicopters have a range of only 1,200 kilometers. Unless you land at Dongfangguo Airport, you can only reach Yizishan after refueling, and it's not enough to add oil once. Gotta add it twice. Thinking of the dense population base of Dongfang Kingdom, the number of zombies is desperate, and it is very dangerous to land and refuel. Gotta add it twice. It's too difficult, but Natasha is a well-trained all-round agent. No matter how difficult it was, it didn't frighten her, and she and Yerla were in the military area, sweeping a lot of weapons and ammunition, which gave her a lot of confidence. Let's go. We first landed at Yicheng Airport in Jie Province, Oriental country. This was what Natasha had planned early in the morning. She thinks the same as Alice and Tanya, although the satellite navigation doesn't work, but inertial navigation systems can be used. Get rid of the dependence on satellite positioning, and the inertial navigation system to go to Yizishan has been downloaded in the military region, and you only need to fly according to the speed and the specified direction. But Elora didn't understand. Natasha, our plane has enough fuel to go to L Province. Why land and refuel in Province J? Natasha said while activating the helicopter console. The population density of the Eastern Kingdom is too high, and I believe there are also a lot of zombies at the airport 99. We have to reserve enough fuel for the helicopter. Once you arrive at the next airport and find the situation dangerous, you can also escape to a safe place with a reserved fuel. Natasha was very thoughtful. Even if she is an all-round agent and has prepared enough weapons and ammunition, she cannot guarantee that she will be safe and sound at the airport in the Eastern country. It's safe when it hits the ground. Ask for flowers. In the process of searching for fuel, if you encounter an incomparable danger, you must evacuate immediately, so you have to reserve a certain amount of fuel for the plane. Gradually, the propeller of the helicopter accelerated, and then lifted off and flew towards the East Xiaoran Island. This is a small island 1900 kilometers away from Sam's empire. It is also the closest sea base to Sam country. Ordinary helicopters can't fly here at all, but Alice and Tonya are riding ponies with a maximum range of 3,560 kilometers. Originally, they were going to fly directly to Summer Island, which is 3,700 kilometers away from Sam's empire, although the cruising range of the pony is still more than 100 kilometers away. But there was fuel in the cabin. It's just that the helicopter can't be refueled in the air, it must be on the ground. Tonya drove a pony for a few laps at a low altitude on Xiaoran Island, but there was not a single zombie on the island. Oh, that's not a good sign. 99. Tonya's tone seemed a little dignified. Alice nodded, then drew her spears and said, "There is no way. We have already flown here, and the fuel in the fuel tank cannot support us to fly back. It has to land now." 35. Tonya and Alice both realized one thing: this small island is a military base where soldiers are stationed all year round. Since there are no zombies on the island, it means that it was killed by the survivor soldiers, and there is likely to be a Sam Empire soldier with a gun on the island. Private Sam is just a profession, not too strong a belief, and the end of the world has erupted for so long. If you have been trapped on the island, who knows what it has become? Do you see it? There were 2 crashed helicopter gunships on the tarmac, and it seems that when the zombie crisis broke out, someone wanted to fly away in a plane. It's just that it fell because of the corpse. We land now, which means that this pony has become the only escape vehicle. If there are still survivors on the island, they will definitely attack us. The reason is simple: the pony is an ultra-long-range reconnaissance helicopter. In order to maximize its battery life, only 2 people can ride in the cabin. Alice and Tonya racked their brains after making improvements to the engine room. It was only reluctant to carry a small barrel of spare fuel, so even if there is only 1 survivor on the island, we'll shoot them too. Again, if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. 298. These 2 women are so fierce. A pony helicopter, slowly descending from the sky. Alice and Tonya were both nervous. Even though they were Super Sera warriors, they had extremely powerful fighting power, but the flesh and blood still can't stop the hot weapon, especially once the enemy fires from the dark. It is even more difficult to guard against, but they had to land, and the helicopter had to be refueled. Otherwise they wouldn't be able to fly to Summer Island. Fortunately, until the landing, there were no accidents. but no survivors were seen. Tanya turned off the helicopter, then he pulled out the key and said solemnly, "Let's go, we must find fuel at this base." Alice naturally understood what she meant. If you don't fill up the oil under an island, use up the spare oil in the cabin, and then you can only go to Summer Island to refuel. Xiao has more than 10,000 square kilometers with a resident population of more than 100,000. Tourists cannot estimate it by 5 zeros, and the military base is larger than Duran Island. Most of the survivors on the island will be concentrated in military bases. Driving a helicopter to go to the Xiao Island military base to refuel is tantamount to courting death. After all, it is easy to hide a gun and a dark arrow is difficult to guard against, so the best choice is to refuel on Duran Island. As the upgraded propellers stopped turning, the base returned to tranquility without the roar of zombies, only the sound of the sea breeze blowing. Alice and Tan Jacob, armed with double guns, searched the base vigilantly. They don't know where the fuel depot is. Only a carpet search is possible at this moment. In the soldiers' dormitory, 6 pairs of eyes were quietly looking at them behind the doors and windows. "It's 2 women, with a great body," 35, a blonde-haired man said with an excited tone. Another man warned, "Be quiet and don't be heard by them." "Afraid of what? Let's rush out together, grab these 2 women, and have some fun." 99, "Do you want to?" 6 men, "You look at me, I look at you," with greedy expressions on their faces. They've been stuck on the island for too long. 2 helicopters crashed. A motorboat can't drive to the coast of Sam's empire, and a warship is docked for supplies, and no one can drive it. Fortunately, the base supply station has compressed biscuits. There are also coconut trees on the island. You can also fish with coconut meat. If you are lucky, you can add meat. So hold on till now, but for such a long time, I haven't touched a woman, and now as long as I see a mother, I can't control myself. Not to mention Alice and Tanya, one tall and temperamental, the other hot and sexy. Let this group of soldiers, one by one, are so excited that they want to pounce immediately. "Be patient, don't rush," a white-haired soldier said. "It seems that they are looking for supplies, and we went to ambush near the material warehouse. As soon as they appear, they will be surrounded and disarmed. Then have enough fun. Let them take us away from Duran Island. Anyway, the fuel in the warehouse is enough for the helicopter to run back and forth several times." The proposal of the white-haired soldier was recognized by everyone. A group of people left and sneaked towards the warehouse, and this time Alice and Tanya's ears moved slightly. They looked at each other and made eye contact. From each other's eyes, there was a hint. Obviously both heard movement as a super serum warrior. Both physical fitness and neural responses, including hearing and smell, are far superior to ordinary people. Alice nodded slightly. Tanya immediately understood what she meant. Flank tactics from left to right, and preemptively attacked at this time. Bang bang with 2 gunshots. The 6 soldiers did not give Alice and Tanya a chance, and rushed out from both sides to surround them. "Hi, baby, put down the arms and we can lie back and enjoy." "Ha ha ha," the soldiers laughed, completely ignoring Alice and Tanya. 2 women holding a small pistol surrounded by a group of soldiers armed with carbines. "Don't believe you're stupid enough to shoot." Boom. It was Alice's gunshot that answered the soldier, followed by Tanya's double gunfire. The moment the 2 shot flying left and right, the person was in the air, completed 2 double kills, then rolled to the ground, and hid behind a building. A set of anti-kill lines. In an instant of the 6 soldiers, there were only 2 left, a blonde soldier and a black soldier. FK. The blonde soldier screamed in horror and quickly hid behind the building. "What the hell are these 2 women?" The blonde soldier was still in a dazed state. 1 second, he was full of confidence, and the next second, there were only 2 people left, not to mention black soldiers. With his IQ, he couldn't figure out where Alice and Tanya came from. "Froggen, man, you show your head and attract the firepower of the other party, and I am responsible for killing those 2 women." Froggen is the black soldier. Although the brain is not very good, but not stupid enough to go out and die. "Fake, Evan, UBCH, why did you let me die? Don't you know how accurate those 2 women are with their marks? As long as I show up, I will definitely die." Seeing that the black soldier Froggen couldn't be fooled, Evan was so angry that he cursed. And now he didn't dare to hit Alice and Tanya's crooked ideas, just want to kill them. He then fled in a helicopter. "Froggen, you coward." 35 Alright, let's do a different approach. I'll stick my clothes out with a gun to track them, and you're responsible for shooting them. "It's me again." No, number 55, you're holding your clothes with a gun. There's no danger. I need to show up to shoot. It's too dangerous. Froggen remembered very clearly that the moment the 2 women flew, they killed 4 of their companions. He didn't dare to show his face even if he was beaten to death. "Bitchy." 35 Evan suddenly lost his way. "Froggen, the big black, was not fooled at this time. A black thing rolled over, and Evan looked closely. It was a grenade boom. Before he could dodge, it exploded. However, the sound of the explosion was rather dull, and there was no violent shock wave, but instead a dazzling white light erupted at the same time. Wang Ming emanated from his ears. Blind, deaf, it's a flashbang. Evan knew that the other party would rush over soon, and he picked up the carbine and fired indiscriminately. Although no one can be seen, but if you are lucky, you can shoot the opponent to death, and when the effect of the flash bomb passes, you will be safe. You can even escape in a plane. Luckily, he actually hit people with random guns, but it was the black companion Froggen who was hit. Fake. 35. I was shot. As soon as the words fell, another bullet hit Froggen's chest. His heart was pierced, and the black soldier died at this time. The bullets in Evan's gun had also been fired. He heard footsteps. 2 people are walking towards him slowly. 299. Giant Tiger, War Beast Legion. Gradually, Evan's eyes returned to normal. 2 beauties in front of him were aiming pistols at him. Tell me, are there any survivors at the base, and how many? Evan didn't think about it, and hurriedly said, no, just the 6 of us. Don't kill me, I have no ill will towards you. You suddenly broke into the base, without identifying your identity. We will definitely control you first. 5. I swear, I definitely didn't want to hurt you. I am a great soldier of Sam's empire. I have my own honor and belief, and I will never shoot at civilians. Bang. 1 gunshot sounded. Tanya blew the white smoke from the muzzle. And then Evan's eyes widened and he fell straight down. I am a soldier of Sam's empire. It's still a special soldier. Don't talk to me about glory and faith. In the country of Sam, the soldier is just a profession. 39. Tanya said coldly. As a special operations team leader, she used to lead her own team to perform missions in many places. There were enemies she killed. There are also unbelievable civilians who were killed in order to complete the task of 17. She knew Sam's soldiers too well. Even Tanya, who has received strict training, only regards her identity as a professional soldier who completes tasks for Sam Kingdom rather than faith and honor. Let's go and have a look at the warehouse. 99. Alice was the first to leave the scene. Although there were no survivors at the base, she still maintained a certain degree of vigilance, and she did not relax her vigilance until the warehouse door was successfully opened. The warehouse contains compressed biscuits and cans. There is also pure water. There are also many weapons and ammunition. None of these things work. There are enough compressed biscuits and pure water in the plane. As for weapons and ammunition, enough is enough. Bring too much, but affect the weight of the aircraft. They were to fly along the chain of sea bases to the Far East, more often to carry fuel. In the corner of the warehouse there are barrels of aviation kerosene. The 2 carried a bucket each, returned to the apron, and filled up the front and auxiliary fuel tanks of the plane. Let's go. 35. Tanya lit a cigarette, took out the key, ignited the helicopter, and turned on the control instruments again. As the propeller spins faster and faster, the ponies gradually lifted off and flew towards Xiao. While they were going to land and refuel, the 2 were clueless. I don't know what danger awaits them in Xiao. The next day the Red Queen sent a message that the magic-modified helicopter formation had brainwashed and controlled all the Corpse Kings, including biochemical beasts. However, due to the large number of other stealth monsters, they have not been killed for the time being. Xiao Yu thought about it carefully. It was decided to send 40 magic helicopters to the 2 battlefields of Dianyu City and S Province, respectively, to serve as patrol tasks nearby. Once you find a stealth monster rushes into the battlefield, be sure to kill it as soon as possible to avoid hurting the soldiers near the battlefield. This is a surefire way to go. The movement speed of invisible monsters is much faster than ordinary zombies, especially Ricketts, that is, the Night Hunter of the Buffy family. This kind of biochemical warrior is very agile, with a sharp finger knife. Whoever scratches will surely die. There are magic-modified helicopters forming squad patrols. You can be sure nothing goes wrong. The remaining 40 magic-modified helicopters, as well as magic-modified fighter jets, continue to clear the invisible monsters in the mountains. Make sure you kill it. 35. In addition, I ordered the person who controlled a giant war beast to issue an order to bring the war beast back. Good master. War beasts run faster, especially on the road. However, despite this, he will not be able to rush back to the base until tomorrow. Xiao Yu plans to add these beasts to the garrison and defend the city. Queen Red, how many beasts are there in total? Master, there are also 2,500 giant war beasts, the same number as giant eagles. Oh? Xiao Yu thought more. The giant eagle is just an ordinary eagle. I don't know what method the Shelley people use to become a giant eagle. Xiao Yu has carefully observed the 300 war beasts in the base area. Most are cows. There are also a few wild boars. As a result, the Shirai were turned into super beasts. Xiao Yu remembered that the Shelley people had 6 families, and each family had the ability to transform different biochemical warriors. It seems that the same family transformed the giant eagle and the giant beast. This ability is very special. The Red Queen, calculate the types and data of the giant beasts for me separately, and I will make equipment for the giant beasts in advance. Since it is a behemoth defending the city naturally, it is enough to wear armor soon. The Red Queen showed Xiao Yu the types of giant beasts in the form of projection. There are 4 kinds of beasts in total. Most are giant cows, very strong and powerful, with blood, red eyes and sharp horns on their heads, and the defense is extremely strong. White-powered bolts and snipers can't break the defense, followed by the giant wild boar. In contrast, the defense is stronger than the giant bull, although slightly smaller, but the explosive force is stronger. From the video, it is rampant in the jungle-covered mountains, and the trees with thick thighs are instantly broken. The third is the giant warrior wolf. The size is smaller than the giant wild boar, but the weight can reach 7 or 8 tons. Defense is weaker, but the running speed is very fast. The body is flexible, and the bouncing power is extremely strong. A cliff more than 10 meters high. Jump up in the rugged and complex mountains. You can run like the wind. The last one caught Xiao Yu's eyes. It turned out to be a giant tiger, the size of a large truck. Tigers are catch with such a large body. It has also been biochemically transformed, and runs as fast as lightning, off in a few leaps. It jumps to another hill. 500. A tiger roar. It really shocked Xiao. Xiao Yu was immediately excited. The Red Queen, how many heads of this giant tiger are there, Master? A total of 4 heads. 35. There are only 4 heads, and the number is relatively small, but it doesn't matter. It is absolutely cool to use it to erect the facade. You now calculate the physical data of the 4 beasts. The first to measure the data of tigers and wolves. We need to hurry up and make the armor 35 as long as he gets the data. Xiao Yu can summon the magic modified machine tool and start work immediately. The 6th level magic modified machine tool has a very magical effect on the refining of metals. The density and strength of the extracted metal are greatly increased, but the weight is lighter. It is used to make armor and is very suitable for war beasts. Flexibility is not compromised at all. Soon, the Red Queen calculated all the data of the 4 giant war beasts and handed it over to Xiao Yu. At this time, the team members who were in charge of brainwashing the Corpse King also returned in a giant eagle now, except for Tang Kexin Yikimin. They are leading the infantry army to fight. In addition, Guo Xiao commanded the garrison to defend the city. The other players are fine, including Han Kexin and Lu Man. These few days are also very busy, because the Sea of Corpses is closed, and no survivors dare to come to defect just right. We will temporarily share the magic modification machine tool with everyone, and seize the time to make armor. Time to get a giant army. Pull out. How majestic. 300. Pandora virus, a race abandoned by evolution. Far under the glaciers of the Antarctic continent, Lizardman base. Lizardman reincarnation officer, holding a black potion in his hand, the adjutant explained, "Your Excellency, reincarnation officer, this is our newly cultivated virus. It's called Pandora. It is a virus with infinite possibilities in the true sense. If it is released, the entire blue star creature, whether it is a zombie, a survivor, or an ordinary animal, will evolve in an uncontrollable direction. But there is one thing we can guarantee: the lower the IQ, the more obvious the changes in the body." The reincarnation officer carefully analyzed the pros and cons. Pandora virus. It's really like Pandora's box. Once opened, it's out of control. And even the lizardmen don't know which direction it will develop. In the reincarnation officer spat out a letter. The gloomy eyes rolled a few times. "I made a decision. Free Pandora. Our purpose is to eliminate the blue star people and restart the reincarnation device." 35. Currently there are only a very small number of survivors. As long as zombies and ordinary animals evolve more and more powerful, the survival environment for survivors will be more difficult, especially Yizishin. When it comes to Yizishin, the reincarnation official Zinzi vomited extremely fast. Even trembling, it hates Yizishin very much. And the Pandora virus this time was also bred to restrain Yizishin. According to Lizardman's analysis, the reason why Yizishin was able to control the Corpse King and the biochemical warriors was to use the signal invasion technology to cut off the connection between the biochemical warriors and the Zalay base. Then it invades the brain of the biochemical warrior with new instructions and establishes a connection with the chip. Become the new master of the biochemical warrior. The root of everything lies in the biological chip under the cerebral cortex. So if you want to defeat Yizishin, you can't send monsters with chips, and comprehensive evolution is the best choice. Adjutant 35. You go and give Pandora to Morgan. Let his base decompose virus samples, and distribute the data to other families. Be sure to disperse as quickly as possible in the air and ocean of Blue Star 35. To make the whole world, there is no place for survivors to live this time. The reincarnation officer still decided to let the Zile people act as pawns. The base under the glaciers of the Antarctic continent must not show any signs of activity to avoid detection by the Galactic Alliance, so it has to be done in secret. The Grey Lizardman adjutant left with a Pandora virus sample soon located in the northern continent of Sam Empire. Morgan Freeman received this sample. Pandora is also a variant of the T virus. You only need sample data. You can cultivate it yourself at this time. Morgan had already obtained various data from the Holy Master, as well as the uncontrollable line graphs brought by the release of Pandora. Uncontrollable itself is the characteristic of T virus. For example, the evolution of zombies is caused by the uncontrollable, and Pandora has infinitely magnified this uncontrollable feature. Morgan is also worried Pandora is a variant of the original strain of the T virus, and the Shire people were vaccinated against the original strain early in the morning. That is to say, the Shire couldn't have evolved because of Pandora. Other animals and pagans will become stronger and stronger, which makes him feel very uncomfortable. But Morgan knew better. Spreading Pandora is the oracle of the Holy Lord and cannot be disobeyed. Call. Morgan let out a long sigh, thinking of the last time when the Holy Lord appointed him as the chief of the Hexagonal Council of the Shire people. At that time, it was the first time I saw the majestic figure of the Holy Lord in the altar in a trance through the dazzling golden light. He seemed to see a vague tale. The incident has been haunting Morgan. He couldn't believe that the Holy Master, who was regarded as a god in his heart, actually had a tail. He dared to be sure there was absolutely no dazzle at the time. Combining this time, the Holy Lord asked him to spread Pandora, but did not grant them absolute control. Does it mean that the Lord has abandoned the Shire people? Morgan shuddered. He didn't dare to tell anyone about this guess, and he didn't dare to ask others to discuss it, so he could speculate in his own heart. Morgan paced up and down the back room. Yizishan has anti-tracking ability, and now they dare not send chemical warriors to attack Yizishan, which is equivalent to cutting off the ability of the Zile people to dominate the world. Do not release Pandora. It means disobeying the order of the Lord, and the consequence may be genocide. What do I do? Morgan decided to hold a hexagonal meeting to get everyone to figure out a solution. But when it comes to the sensitive topics of the Holy Master, you must not talk about it casually. God knows whether the Holy Master will eavesdrop on the content of the meeting. Morgan left the secret room and quickly came to the hexagonal conference room. After starting the meeting procedure, the leaders of the 5 major families appeared on the projection video. One after another. Morgan made no polite words. Take out the Pandora sample and get straight to the point. Everyone, the situation is urgent. I won't say more nonsense. We failed in the battle against Yizishan Sea of Corpses, and even made a wedding dress for Yizishan, and those biochemical beasts became the pets of war. 35. This also means that we can no longer use biochemical warriors to attack Yizishan. 35. For this reason, the Holy Lord called me, and give Pandora virus samples. Everyone will take a closer look. The virus samples have been annotated in detail by Morgan, and even if people from the 5 major families do not understand microbiology, they can understand them through the annotations. However, after reading the annotations of the virus samples, the people of the 5 major families were instantly petrified. He even rushed into deep fear. Pandora, an uncontrollable virus in the true sense. Organisms all over the world, even plants, will evolve madly. Only we, the Shire people, cannot enjoy the benefits of the great evolution because we have been injected with the original strain of the vaccine in advance. 39. Oh, my God, what else can we have? Everyone was dumbfounded, and even rushed to sorrow. In the first few zombie evolutions, the Zile people could at least control the Corpse King, Lees, and become their puppets. It even once called itself the purest human being and tried to use this identity to become the master of the world. Later, the Zile people developed various biochemical warriors, and even the genetic code given by the Holy Master to strengthen the ability of the biochemical warriors. But this time is different. The Holy Lord only asked the Shile people to cultivate more Pandora virus according to the samples, but they did not give them the power to rule the world. Morgan took a deep breath. Everyone, I believe you have already understood it, so you must speak carefully in the next discussion. We have to find hope for survival. As long as we survive the next great evolution, when Yizishan is destroyed, we will still be the strongest survivors. Everyone, please give your opinion. 55. Now is the moment to decide the fate of the Sheila. Angry, sitting in front of the computer, unable to code a single word, heartbroken. Only one chapter tonight. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.